I transmigrated into a fallen family. I became my dad's absolute pillar. I had peerless divine weapons. I tossed ancient formations to my dad. I gave him the primordial dragon vein. I'm always providing for my dad. So my dad only needed a year to slaughter his way across the entire land of Juzhou. Just as my dad was moved, thinking his son was the most filial in history, he suddenly discovered the one who lounged in the yard reading comic books every day turned out to be the only eternal Tao sovereign in this universe. All of this happened because I bound the prosperity system. My cultivation will always be 3 major realms above my dad's. When I just transmigrated into this cultivation world, I realized just how miserable my situation was. My father, Lin Zan, tried to protect me, but was struck by a sect envoy, shattering all his sword bones. His Danshan and Qi Si were completely ruined. If his foundation can't be rebuilt, my father won't just become a powerless invalid. Even the 10 years he had left to live would shrink to just 3 months. By then, our Lin family would be devoured by those viperous relatives. So I desperately searched the house, looking for any ancestral jade pendants or mysterious iron rings. Maybe I could summon some ancient sword spirit and turn the tide for me and my dad. But soon I completely lost hope. Our family was so poor, even the mice left in tears. Just as I was about to grab a kitchen knife and risk it all, a cold mechanical voice suddenly boomed in my minding. Congratulations, host, you've bound the prosperity system. Detected that host's father is out of life force right now. This tragic scene seriously violates the system's goal of Invincible by relying on dad. Issuing the father's Nirvana comeback gift pack for the host. Attention! All items in the gift pack are warranty limited to host's father only. Anyone else touching them turns them to ordinary dirt. Listening to the voice in my mind, I couldn't help but twitch at the corner of my mouth. The entire gift pack is for my dad. So do I have to serve tea and water too? M1. A dignified transmigrator not even getting a sip of soup? Ding. Since host is the only one bound to the system, activating the unique passive rule. Host's cultivation will always be 3 major realms above father's. Would host like to activate this rule right now? Hearing that, I almost burst out laughing. This system was basically tailored for me. It's an unbeatable cheat. Always 3 major realms above my dad. Which means, as long as I keep stuffing resources into my dad like a goose, if he keeps cultivating hard, I can just lie back at ease. I can even level up just by breathing. Even breathing upgrades me automatically. Activate the unique passive now. Ding. Detected host's father in battle. Currently fallen to the key gathering realm, first stage. Since this world's realms are key gathering, profound pill, heaven origin, sea opening, divine travel, holy sovereign. With the system's universal rule applied, host's cultivation will jump straight to sea opening realm, first stage. Boom before I could even react. The system notification sounded immediately. A terrifying surge of spiritual power strong enough to destroy heaven and earth erupted within me. My bones were frantically rearranging. My meridians expanded tens of thousands of times. Peak of key gathering 9 stages. Completion of profound pill 9 stages. Limit of heaven origin 9 stages. Until it finally settled at sea opening realm, first stage. System, do you not play fair? I clenched my fist suddenly, feeling like I could smash stars with one punch from this force. The terror. Ordinary people can't reach sea opening power even in a lifetime, but I achieved sea opening realm almost effortlessly. In this Tianyan Empire, this level of power only exists in legends, like a guardian divine beast. Just breathing created fierce windstorms. But I quickly suppressed my terrifying aura, a flash of extreme coldness in my eyes. I haven't forgotten how my father's sword bones were broken. That arrogant star sword sect wanted to take the heirloom my mother left for me, crippled my dad like squashing an ant, even threatened if the Lin family dared to resist, they'd wipe us out. Now that I've got this god-tier system, sooner or later, I'm going to trample that so-called star sword sect. Sea opening realm? That's nothing. It's not enough, far from enough. I want to keep getting stronger. System, hurry up. Open the Father's Nirvana Comeback Gift Pack. Just as I finished speaking, in the void, 3 dazzling beams of divine light suddenly burst out. Ding! Congratulations, host, you have received your Father's exclusive Ninefold Nirvana Rebirth Golden Pill. Ding! Congratulations, host, you have received your Father's exclusive Eternal Star Washing Essence Divine Liquid. Ding! Congratulations, host, you have received your Father's exclusive Supreme Technique, the Chaos Devouring Sword Art, plus half a legendary item, the World-Destroying Thunderfire Seed. Looking at the 4 treasures radiating overwhelming divine might suspended before me, I was so excited I almost stopped breathing. The Ninefold Nirvana Rebirth Golden Pill not only regenerates limbs, but can help one emerge reborn and break through limits. The legendary Immaculate Sword Body Essence Liquid washes the body, removing all impurities of the mundane, boosting cultivation speed 100-fold. And the Chaos Devouring Sword Art is the real heavy hitter. Just the word chaos in the name proves it surpasses the rules of this world entirely. Let alone that it comes with a world-ending Thunderfire Seed. If my dad absorbs all these, his cultivation will not only be restored, he could even split the Tianyan Empire's capital with one sword. It'd be effortless. And since I'm always 3 major realms above him, I could ascend right then and there, becoming the god of this continent. Thinking about this, I grabbed the treasures and kicked open the door, heading straight for my father's rundown side courtyard. Just as I stepped into the main house courtyard, jeering voices came from all directions. Well, look who it is, the useless young master. What young master? His dad is even worse than a stray dog now. A cripple. If he hadn't messed with the Star Sword sect envoy, would the family head have been ruined? He's just bad luck. The elder has already given orders. Tomorrow father and son will be tossed out of the family. Listening to their vicious words while I was down, I couldn't even bother to look at them. Why fuss over people about to be buried anyway? The more arrogant you are now, the harder you'll kneel tomorrow. I sneered and sped up. I shoved open the fragile wooden door to the side courtyard. The moment I entered, the sight in front of me made my heart clench. An indescribable sadness hit me right in the nose. In the dark, damp room, my father Lin Zan, who once commanded the capital with his sword, now sat slumped in a wheelchair, hair as white as snow. His hands were thin and withered, gripping tightly onto a dimly glowing essence crystal, trying to pour the last drop of life force into my protective jade pendant. Are you crazy? My eyes burned with rage. My figure turned into a blur instantly, and I grabbed the crystal away. Lin Zan was trembling violently, those eyes once deep as the night sky. At this moment, there's nothing but endless silence. Instead, your father has become a cripple. My presence now will only drag you down. The Grand Elder said he'll throw us out tomorrow. I've sealed my last bit of essence in this jade pendant. Take it to the black market and exchange it for some travel money. The farther you go, the better. Leave this cannibalistic place.
Hearing this,
my eyes instantly turned red. This is what a father is. Even when he was reduced to barely surviving, what he cared about was still how to leave his son one last way out. Adversity reveals true character. Since fate brought me into this body, from today on, Lin Zan is my real dad. If anyone dares touch a single hair on him, I'll wipe out their whole family. I took a deep breath, forced myself to hold back anger and grief. A mysterious smile crept on my lips. Come on, we're not leaving. Just now while I was sleeping, I dreamed of an old man with a glowing white beard. He said your fate is not meant to end. You're destined to become a peerless master in the future with a sword that rules the heavens. He even casually handed me some worthless junk. Insisted it could cure your illness. Lin Zan listened to my nonsense. A bitter smile appeared on his desperate face. Fanner, I know you're a good kid, but your father's sword bone was crushed by the Star Sword sect's true techniques. Even a god couldn't save it. Before he finished speaking, I directly took out a radiant 9-color pill, the Ninefold Nirvana, reforging the golden core. In an instant, the entire shabby room was filled with an overwhelming scent of medicine. Just by inhaling once, Lin Zan's depleted blood and energy amazingly started surging. Well, what grade is this pill? Lin Zan's eyes suddenly widened. From his dead eyes, a stunning, unbelievable look instantly burst forth. Dad, forget about the grade. Just hurry up and eat it. Without waiting for his response, I pried open his mouth and shoved all the golden core and divine nectar inside. Then slapped the chaos-devouring sword technique and thunderflame seed right into his forehead. Your son will go for a stroll outside first. Dad, you digest it well. If you don't succeed in mastering the sword technique, no master in the world will dare call themselves Lin Fan's father. After saying that, I didn't give her a chance to ask questions. I turned and dashed out of the room. Are you kidding me? My dad's sword bone recovery is sure to be absolutely epic. I gotta give him plenty of face. The next moment after I shut the door, a roar of suppressed fury suddenly exploded from the room. Boom, rumble, rumble, rumble. A visible storm of spiritual power, centered on the side courtyard, swept wildly through my mind. System notifications blasted through my mind like firecrackers. Detected that host's father ingested Nirvana pill. Sword bone restoration succeeded. Breakthrough to Zhuandan rank 1. Breakthrough to Zhuandan rank 5. Breakthrough to Zhuandan rank 9. Perfect, detected host's father comprehended chaos sword technique. Forced breakthrough to ancient realm. Cultivation soared to Tianyuan rank 1. Listening to those pleasant notifications in my mind, I was so thrilled I nearly floated away. In just half an hour, father not only recovered his peak strength, he even became one of the rare Tianyuan realm experts in Tianyan Empire. A rare Tianyuan realm powerhouse. But what excites me most is the system's next notification. Beep. Detected host's father reached Tianyuan rank 1. Unique passive law triggered. Host's cultivation auto boosts by 3 major realms. Congratulations. Host's cultivation broke through to divine. Spirit wandering rank 1. Buma supreme power beyond words. Awakened in my body. Between a single thought in the divine wandering realm, my divine sense instantly covered the whole city. Every falling leaf in the city, every drop of water, was under my complete control. Right now, I don't need any weapons. Just a single look can make the laws of heaven and earth tremble. I slowly exhaled a foul breath, feeling this world-dominating power. Couldn't help but smile. Lying flat and getting stronger feels absolutely amazing. Just as I was filled with emotion, my divine sense suddenly detected a commotion at the Lin families. That Hill Herbal Garden, a slender and fragile figure, was surrounded by several family servants. That's my personal maid, Mu Jiaoxiao. Hand it over, you little thief. A supervisor with a face full of scars was furiously pointing at Mu Jiaoxiao's nose and cursing her out. I didn't steal it. I'm pawning this to buy medicine for the young master. Mu Jiaoxiao desperately protected a little cloth pouch in her arms. Her eyes were red. It's the only keepsake left by her mother. A broken jade hairpin. Theft. That useless young master Lin Fan is not worth the medicine. The supervisor kicked Mu Jiaoxiao's knee hard. The Grand Elder gave orders today. Lin Fan's yard must have water and food cut off. If you, little servant, know what's good for you, hand it over obediently. I might reward you with a scrap of leftovers. Seeing Mu Jiaoxiao's unyielding expression on screen, my murderous intent almost became tangible. What a Grand Elder. And what a neighbor crab. A tiger out of power gets bullied by dogs. Do you really think I'm a dead man? I took a step forward, instantly crossed hundreds of yards, appeared directly in the herbal garden. Boom. The supervisor was about to slap Mu Jiaoxiao's face. I didn't even raise my hand, just swept her with a cold gaze. A terrifying pressure swept down like 10,000 mountains. The supervisor couldn't even scream. Her whole body was caught by the terror. Her whole body was caught by crushing gravity. Smashed into the dirt, bones shattered all over, and fainted right on the spot, dead as a doornail. Young master. Mu Jiaoxiao stared blankly at my sudden appearance. Her tears burst forth instantly. It's okay, Jiaoxiao. I walked up, gently rubbed her head. If anyone dares touch you from now on, I'll turn them to dust. The other servants trembled in fear and fell to their knees with a thump, desperately kowtowing and begging for mercy. "Spare us, young master. The Grand Elder made us do it." "Grand Elder," I sneered. "Go tell that old dog to wash his neck clean. Tomorrow I'll personally cut off his head." "Get lost," I shouted. The servants fled the herbal garden as fast as they could, rolling and scrambling away. I brought Mu Xiao back to the courtyard, and suddenly sensed an overwhelming sword intent soaring into the sky, above the entire Lin family estate. A gigantic, 100-yard-long thunderflame sword formed. Father has exited seclusion. I'm ecstatic inside. Meanwhile, an extremely arrogant, loud laugh echoed outside the Lin family's main gate. "Lin Zan, you old dog. Lin Fan, you worthless piece of trash. Why aren't you coming out to die already?" I frowned and scanned with my spiritual sense, and immediately recognized the visitor Xing Chen's sword. The visitor, Zhao Wuji, an inner disciple of Star Sword sect. He is the disciple of the envoy who destroyed my father's sword bone. Behind him, several elders from neighboring families followed, each nodding and bowing, acting just like a bunch of groveling lapdogs. "Young Master Zhao, we are so glad you're here." The Grand Elder greeted him with a flattering smile. "That loser Lin Zan should have died long ago. Rest assured, today we'll beat father and son to death and apologize to Star Sword sect." Zhao Wuji snorted disdainfully. "Apologize with just you, ants? Are you even worthy?"
Today,
"I won't settle for only Lin Fan's life. I want your Lin family's ancestral micro-spirit vein too. If you don't comply, no one will be left alive, not even the chickens or dogs." With those words, the Lin family members instantly turned pale with despair. The Grand Elder trembled in fear, but just to survive, he actually turned around and roared at the Lin family. "Are you all deaf? Hurry and go to the side courtyard to tie up Lin Zan and Lin Fan. For the family's survival, we should sacrifice father and son." Watching these shameless people, I laughed angrily in retaliation, just as I was about to step forward and use the pressure of the divine wandering realm to crush Zhao Wuji into pulp. Right at that moment, a chilling voice, as if from the depths of hell, exploded above the entire Lin family. "Sacrifice my son? Just you bunch, not even worthy as dogs." Boom! The side courtyard's gate shattered into pieces. A figure like a demonic god stepped into the air. Lin Zan in black robes, with white hair, blowing wildly in the wind. In his eyes burned heaven-shattering, earth-destroying blue thunder lightning. Divine element realm. How is that possible? Wasn't he crippled? The Grand Elder's eyes were about to pop out, scared so much he collapsed onto the ground, a large wet patch spreading in his pants. On Zhao Wuji's face, his arrogance completely froze. "That's impossible. My master clearly broke your sword bone. How could you rebuild your sword bone and even break through to the divine element realm?" Lin Zan simply ignored him, pointing at Zhao Wuji from the air like a sword. "Anyone who harms my child dies." A terrifying sword aura made of thunder fire was unleashed. A dragon's roar tore through the sky in an instant, rushing straight at Zhao Wuji's face. Feeling the sword's power strong enough to destroy everything, Zhao Wuji was terrified out of his mind. "Save me, Elder Mo. Save me!" Just as the thunderfire sword aura was about to slice Zhao Wuji in half, a crack suddenly appeared in midair. A shriveled old man in black robes appeared like a ghost. A withered old man in black robes blocked Zhao Wuji like a ghost. The old man quickly formed hand seals, and a black shield engraved with mysterious runes instantly materialized. Bang! The thunder flame sword key slammed into the black shield, erupting in an earth-shattering explosion. The black-robed elder groaned, staggering back several steps, his eyes filled with horror. The Grand Elder and others saw this and cried out in shock again. This black-robed elder is actually a super expert of the Pihai realm. Lin Zan is finished now. No matter how strong the Chenyuan realm is, it's impossible to defeat the Pihai realm across a major boundary. Zhao Wuji wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and became arrogant once again. Linzan, so what if you've recovered your cultivation? Before Elder Mo, you are still just a slightly larger ant. Elder Mo, cripple him for me. I want to do it right in front of him, and skin Lin Fan alive. Hearing these words, I, who was standing quietly in the courtyard, felt my gaze turn completely cold. You want to skin me? Fine, very well. I looked up at the elder in the air, and lightly tapped my finger in the void. The laws of heaven and earth, the supreme law that imprisons the Shenyu realm, descended instantly. Mo Yuan, the black-robed elder about to strike, suddenly felt the space around him become as indestructible as a divine body. He discovered in terror that despite his Pi realm cultivation, he couldn't even move a single finger. The spiritual power in his body completely solidified, and even his soul was suppressed firmly. What level of power is this? Mo Yuan's heart was filled with waves of shock, and cold sweat poured down like rain. Meanwhile, Lin Zan had no idea Mo Yuan had been secretly immobilized by me. In his eyes, there was only endless rage and a desire to protect me. You want to touch my son? You'll have to step over my dead body first. Lin Zan let out a roar, circulating the chaos-devouring sky sword art to the extreme. The thunder flame seed instantly went berserk, transforming into a 1,000-foot giant sword. With a momentum that could destroy everything, it slashed down fiercely toward Mo Yuan. No, Mo Yuan roared desperately in his mind, but he couldn't make a single sound. He could only watch as the thunder flame giant sword expanded infinitely in his pupils. Pucci, without any suspense, the Pi realm's super expert, Mo Yuan, was split in half by Lin Zan's sword. The terrifying thunder flame instantly burned his remains to ashes, and even his soul could not escape. The entire field was dead silent. A deathly silence. Everyone was like a duck being strangled, eyes wide open, mouths agape, mouths hanging open, unable to make a single sound. An instant kill with one sword strike. The Pi realm! Is this really something the Tianyuan realm can achieve? The Grand Elder and several branch managers were so terrified they began foaming at the mouth, and most of them fainted. Jia Wuji fell to his knees with a thud, his whole body trembling violently like chaff. Lin, Master Lin, spare me. I am an inner disciple of the Starry Sword Sect. If you kill me, the Starry Sword Sect will not let you go. Lin Zan looked down at him coldly, as if looking at a corpse. The Starry Sword Sect. One day I will pay them a visit personally, and slaughter every one of you scumbags. After that, Lin Zan didn't even bother to draw his sword. A violent wave of air just erupted from his body. Zhao Wuji was instantly hit as if by a 10,000-pound sledgehammer, spitting out a mouthful of blood, and was sent flying hundreds of meters away, his fate unknown. The crisis was resolved. Lin Zan landed from midair and walked quickly to me. He looked me up and down, his eyes full of nervousness and concern. Fanner, are you all right? Are you injured? Looking at my father's gaze full of paternal love, my heart warmed. I smiled and shook my head. Dad, I'm perfectly fine. But that sword strike of yours just now was really cool. Upon hearing this, Upon hearing this, Lin Zan laughed heartily. Well, of course. Who do you think your father is? However, Lin Zan frowned slightly, a hint of doubt flashing in his eyes. That sword strike just now. I felt like something was wrong. Why didn't that black-robed elder even try to dodge? He just took my strike head-on. I suppressed a smile and spoke serious nonsense. It must be because your overlord aura is too strong, that he was scared stiff. And Dad, you are practicing that peerless technique given by that old man. It's normal to defeat enemies above your rank. Lin Zan nodded in deep agreement. It seems that Senior is indeed an unfathomable master. Fanner, if you meet that Senior again in the future, you must thank him properly on my behalf. I held back my laughter and nodded solemnly. Of course, of course. I thank him every night in my dreams. At this moment, the surviving Lin family disciples and branch elders nearby were all trembling as they looked at us. Especially the grand elder who had shouted the loudest before was now lying on the ground playing dead, not even daring to open his eyes. I pulled back my smile, my cold gaze sweeping across the field. Grand elder, stop pretending. Get up. Hearing my voice, the grand elder jolted. He scrambled, jerked, and crawled to me, kowtowing frantically. Young master, spare me. Master, spare me. I was possessed by greed and listened to Zhao Wuji's slander. I begged the master, for the sake of our clan ties, spare my worthless life. A look of disgust flashed in Lin Zan's eyes. Just as he was about to pass judgment on the grand elder, I spoke up first. Dad, you've just finished your seclusion. Let me handle these trivial family matters. Lin Zan was stunned for a moment, then patted my shoulder with relief. You've grown up. In that case, I'll leave everything here to you. After saying that, Lin Zan turned and walked toward the side courtyard, clearly eager to return and stabilize his realm. After Lin Zan left, my gentle expression vanished instantly, replaced by endless majesty. Someone, cripple this old dog's cultivation and throw him into the dungeon. In addition, seize his entire branch's assets. Confiscate all embezzled family resources. Immediately! Several guards loyal to the main house rushed forward. The grand elder was dragged away, screaming in despair. Having removed this tumor, I looked at the trembling Lin family members below, my voice cold as ice. From today, the Lin family has new rules. Anyone who dares to betray the main house again, the main house, or oppress fellow clansmen will end up like the grand elder. Also, in half an hour, all core figures at the elder level must assemble in the council hall. I will restructure the Lin family council of elders. Leaving those words behind, I turned and walked toward the council hall with Mu Zhaoxiao. Half an hour later, it was dead silent in the Lin family council hall. A dozen surviving elders sat on both sides, not even daring to breathe loudly. They had all deeply realized that the main house of the Lin family has completely risen. Not only has the master Lin Zan recovered his cultivation, but he has become even more terrifying. Even this young master, whom they always saw as a waste, Lin Fan sitting on the main seat now, emitted an aura of a superior that made it hard for them to breathe. I picked up the teacup, took a sip, and scanned the crowd. The old Lin family was too corrupt. The council of elders was useless, with everyone infighting and scrambling for power. From today onward, this situation must change completely. Hearing my words, everyone lowered their heads in agreement. I put down the teacup and continued. I have decided that outside of the council of elders, a new organization called the Shadow Pavilion will be established, specifically responsible for gathering external intelligence. The Shadow Pavilion is specifically responsible for gathering external intelligence and monitoring internal misconduct. The master of the Shadow Pavilion is accountable only to my father and me. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone was shocked. It is practically a sword hanging over everyone's head. Who will serve as the master of this Shadow Pavilion? While everyone was speculating, I shifted my gaze toward a young elder sitting at the very end. Lin Pojin stepped forward. Lin Pojin, upon hearing his name, stood up abruptly, walked quickly to the center of the hall, and knelt on one knee. What are your orders, young master? I looked at this young man before me. Through my divine sense investigation, I had long ago discovered that Lin Pojin was not simple. He usually kept a low profile, but in secret, he had trained a group of extremely elite shadow guards. Even when the Grand Elder tried to stage a coup earlier, he did not follow the crowd. Lin Pojin, I have checked your background. You have secretly trained a group of shadow guards, right? Hearing this, Lin Pojin trembled all over, a flash of shock crossing his eyes, but he quickly concealed it. The young master is wise. Very well. I don't care why you trained them before. From today on, you are the first master of the Shadow Pavilion. I give you the highest authority. Go directly to the treasury for whatever resources you need. I have only one requirement. I want you to. Only one requirement. I want you to, within the shortest time possible, extend the reach of the Shadow Pavilion across the entire Sky Cloud Empire. Lin Pojun snapped his head up, his eyes filled with a fanatical light.
He was naturally ambitious.
But simply lacked the space to manifest it within the Lin family. Now I had given him a massive stage. Your subordinate Lin Pojun swears to serve the young master unto death. Loyalty to the family. I nodded in satisfaction. For the period that followed, under my secret manipulation, and Lin Pojun's swift and decisive actions, the family underwent an unprecedented purge. All ill-intentioned tumors were uprooted. Vast amounts of resources were redistributed. Those exceptionally talented young disciples received vigorous training. The entire Lin family exuded an unprecedented sense of vitality and energy. Meanwhile, my father Lin Zan, after fully absorbing the 9-turn nirvana, reshaping golden core, and the marrow-cleansing divine liquid, his cultivation soared like a rocket, directly breaking through to the 9th level of the sea realm. He was just one step away from entering the legendary Spirit Trek realm. Of course, for my father's breakthrough, the biggest beneficiary was still me. Ding, detected. Host's father has reached the 9th level of the sea realm. Unique passive law, triggering host's level synchronization, raised by 3. Raised by 3 major realms. Congratulations, host's cultivation has broken through to the Saint Venerable realm. 9th level perfection. Listening to the system prompts in my head, I lay comfortably on the rocking chair in the courtyard. Beside me, Mu Zhaoxiao was obediently peeling grapes for me. Saint Venerable realm. In this world, this is already a near invincible existence. Even the heavenly laws of this world would have to behave in front of me. However, I also knew that the real crisis had only just begun. The Astral Sword Sect, the top overlord level power in the Sky Cloud Empire. Their foundation is by no means as simple as it looks on the surface. Zhao Wuji was crippled, and that Sea Realm Protector was killed. The Astral Sword Sect will definitely not let this go. Even the culprit who took my mother's keepsake and crippled my father's sword bone, Lin Qingku, the holy maiden of the Astral Sword Sect, is likely already plotting how to completely wipe out the Lin family. But I'm not panicking at all, because I not only have cheats, I also have a super hard-working father. While I was enjoying this rare moment of peace, the system's prompt in my head rang out again without warning. And this time, the voice actually carried a hint of an urgent red alert. Ding! Emergency mission triggered! Urgent red alert. Ding! Emergency mission triggered. Detected, high above the 9 heavens. Lin Qingku, holy maiden of the Astral Sword Sect, has sensed Zhao Wuji's death. She is forcibly opening a cross-realm teleportation array, preparing to descend upon the Sky Cloud Empire. The holy maiden is carrying, with her, a forbidden divine object that transcends the laws of this world. Host, please prepare immediately. As the host of the husband advancing righteous path system, how could I do it myself when facing a strong enemy? I must upgrade Dad's equipment and let Dad go cut her down. Special ultimate pressure resistance gift pack mission issued. As long as the host's father, in the upcoming crisis, successfully withstands 10 attacks from Lin Qingku without dying, the system will reward the origin of the primordial chaos Dao body and the peerless imperial weapon, immortal slaying sword. Hearing the system prompt, I sat up abruptly from the rocking chair. Primordial chaos Dao body? Peerless imperial weapon, immortal slaying sword? This reward is way too insane. If Dad merges with these things, never mind a holy maiden of the Astral Sword Sect, even the ruler of this universe would have to bow twice to my dad before leaving. Looks like it's time to go do some more ideological work for my dad, to let him know that, as a sword cultivator, he should face difficulties head-on, becoming braver with every setback. Absolutely never bow down in front of a woman. Absolutely never bow down in front of a woman. I looked at the thunderclouds faintly gathering in the sky, a wicked smile full of expectation curling at the corner of my mouth. Lin Qingku, is it? Cross-realm teleportation array, is it? You better come quickly. I can't wait to see my dad show off. The dark clouds in the sky completely turned into an endless blood red. The temperature of the entire Lingyan city instantly dropped to freezing point. Wild winds scraped over every tile of the family estate like knives. The air was filled with a suffocating, terrifying pressure.
Tens of millions of cultivators in the Sky Cloud Empire.
All fell to their knees at this moment. That was a kind of ultimate power that surpassed the laws of this world. My divine sense reached toward the 9 heavens above. The void was forcibly torn open by a pale hand, and a stunningly beautiful figure, cold as frost, slowly stepped out. She was dressed in white, untouched by a speck of dust. Beneath her feet, she stepped upon a dazzling galaxy condensed from endless starlight. There was no hint of human emotion in her eyes, as if she were a high and mighty deity, looking down upon the ants on the ground. Lin Chengku, the holy maiden of the Astral Sword sect. The woman who, back then, like throwing away trash, crippled my dad's sword bone. The bitch who snatched away the engagement keepsake my mother left for me. She is finally here. And behind her, hundreds of starships that blotted out the sky and moon followed. Each warship, on each of those warships, stood elite disciples of the Astral Sword sect. The lowest cultivation was above the Sky Origin realm. The leading protectors had even reached the terrifying half-step Saint Venerable realm. Such a lineup. Never mind a tiny family. Even if they wanted to flatten the entire Sky Cloud Empire, it would only take a flick of a finger. The people in Lingyan City cried out in despair. The members of the Lin family turned ashen, their legs trembling uncontrollably. Lin Pojin led the shadow guards of the Shadow Pavilion, standing firmly in front of my small courtyard. Though they knew, this resistance was no different from an ant trying to stop a carriage. There was no hint of retreat in their eyes. Mu Xiao clutched the corner of my clothes tightly, shaking all over. I patted her small hand, signaling her not to be afraid. Everything is under control. At the very moment Lin Qingku was about to give the order to massacre the city, a sword cry, as if splitting heaven and earth, soared into the sky from the courtyard. Boom! 100-foot thick pillar of thunder and flame pierced directly through the heavens, forcibly tearing an opening through those starships that blotted out the sun. Lin Zan, in a black robe, rose against the heavens. His white hair danced wildly in the wind, his eyes burning with an unyielding battle intent. Alone, he stood in front of the entire Lin family's airspace, bearing all of that world-destroying pressure. Above the house, that world-shattering oppressive force, he took it all upon his own shoulders. Lin Qingku, you fraud. Years ago, you crippled my cultivation and tried to take my life. Today, if you dare lay a finger on me, I, Lin Zan, would risk total destruction of my soul, just to tear a piece of your flesh. Lin Zan's furious roar shook the skies. Lin Chengku lowered her head, looking down at the man she once crushed beneath her feet. A look of utter shock flashed across her stunning face. You actually rebuilt your sword bones and reached the 9th perfection stage of sea-breaking realm. That's absolutely impossible. In a barren place like Tianyan Empire, how could such unimaginable fortune exist? He stared at Lin Zan, trying to uncover the secrets of his body, but quickly, the shock in his eyes turned into an even colder killing intent. So what if you've miraculously recovered? An ant is still an ant. Today I'm not only going to crush you, I'm going to flay your useless son alive. Lin Qingku slowly raised her right hand. In the palm of her hand hovered a broken little wing shrouded in surging black mist. That is what the system referred to as the Forbidden's divine artifact that transcends laws, the Annihilation Demon Seal. Suppress him! Lin Qingku shouted fiercely. That black seal instantly expanded in the wind, transforming into an ancient demonic mountain, carrying the might to destroy the world. It smashed down hard towards Lin Zan's head. Lin Zan let out a wild laugh, came crashing down. Lin Zan laughed fiercely, without the slightest retreat. Chaotic devourer. Sword technique. Break it. The thunderflame sword in his hand transformed instantly into a roaring thunder dragon. bravely charging straight at the ancient magic mountain. Boom! An ear-splitting explosion shook the entire Lingyan city violently. Thunder Dragon and Demonic Mountain collided madly in midair. Lin Zan spat out a mouthful of blood, but his body was like an unshakable anchor, steadfastly held in the void, not backing off an inch. I sat in the courtyard, quietly watching the scene. The system's notification sounded right on time. Detected. Host's father successfully resisted Lin Qingqiu's first attack. 9 more to go until mission complete. I raised my eyebrows, secretly cheering Dad on in my mind. Dad, you gotta hang in there. Just hold out for 10 attacks. And we can soar right from here. Lin Qingqiu saw Ling Zan actually block her attack. Her face became extremely ugly.
He, a dignified holy lord,
with high-level powers and a forbidden's artifact, couldn't even instantly kill a sea-breaking ant. If word gets back to Star Sword Sect, he'd have no dignity left as their lady. Old fool, let's see how long you can last. Annihilation Demon Seal, 2nd Sky. Annihilation Demon Seal, 3rd Sky. Annihilation Demon Seal, 4th Sky. Lin Qingqiu rapidly formed 3 spell seals in one breath. The ancient demonic mountain. Its size tripled once again. Endless demonic energy turned into thousands of black blades, rained down upon Lin Zan like a storm. Lin Zan's eyes turned blood red. The chaotic sword energy in his body was pushed to the limit. He bellowed loudly, summoning a massive phantom blue lotus around him. Every petal formed from pure thunderflame sword intent. Black blades frantically shredded the lotus. Lin Zan was bathed in blood. His skin split apart over and over, but quickly healed thanks to the medicinal power of bone-washing divine elixir. That agony of being torn apart and rebuilt would make any normal person pass out after just once. But he gritted his teeth and didn't let out a single cry of pain. That broad back of his always firmly shielded me, not letting even a shred of demonic energy fall into the neighbor's yard. Dad, watching that blood-soaked fighting back, my eyes grew misty. This is my father. To protect me. He's the kind of man ready to risk his very life. Detected that host's father successfully resisted the 4th attack. Detected that host's father successfully resisted the 5th attack. Detected that host's father successfully resisted the 6th attack. The system's voice kept counting down like a death knell. Lin Qingqiu was already completely frenzied. He couldn't accept that a lower realm ant. He couldn't accept that a lower realm ant could withstand so many attacks from him. Lin Zan, I want to utterly destroy you. Lin Qingqiu suddenly bit through her tongue, spraying vital blood onto the black seal. Annihilation Demon Seal. Ultimate form. Total obliteration. In that moment, the world lost all color. All light was devoured by the demonic seal. Even I, at 9th perfection of the Holy Lord realm, felt my heart race with dread. It exploded forth. This power truly surpassed the Holy Lord realm, stepping halfway to divine realm strength. Facing him now totally depleted, the thunderflame sword in his hand was breaking inch by inch. His spiritual power utterly dried up. He could barely stand anymore. But still, he used every last ounce of strength, turned his head and gave me a deep look. Fan or run! Dad can only help you this far. Staring at that demonic seal capable of wiping Lingyan City off the map. Smashing down violently, Lin Zan closed his eyes, preparing for death. Just at that critical moment, in my mind, a system prompt sounded like heavenly music. Ding! Detected that host's father, through sheer willpower, withstood 10 attacks beyond the limit. Ultimate pressure resistance gift pack mission fully completed. Congratulations, host. You've obtained the origin of the primordial chaos Dao body. Congratulations, host. You've obtained the Peerless Emperor weapon, Immortal Slayer sword. Host has obtained the Peerless Emperor weapon, Immortal Slayer sword. Gift pack automatically stored in host space. Would you like to extract it and give it to your father now? I jumped up from the rocking chair. Unprecedented divine light burst from my eyes. Extract it for me. Dad, you've worked so hard. Now it's your time to shine. I raised my hand, pointed across the sky at that nearly falling figure. From afar pointed a finger. In that instant, a purple gold chaos divine light tore through the void, pouring right into Lin Zan's head. Right after, a flawless ancient sword surging with four-color Immortal Slayer sword aura, ripped through the firmament, landing steadily in Lin Zan's blood-soaked right hand. Lin Zan, who was waiting for death, suddenly opened his eyes. An incomparably terrifying aura, billions of times stronger than before, erupted from his body. That was the power of the primordial chaos Tao body, the ultimate physique of the ages, unaffected by all laws, unbreakable by any calamity. Lin Zan's wounds healed completely in 0.01 seconds. His cultivation at the ninth perfection of the sea-breaking realm, under the push of the supreme Tao body source, began skyrocketing crazily. Holy Lord Realm, first stage. Holy Lord Realm, fifth stage. Holy Lord Realm, ninth perfection, half-step divine king. In the blink of an eye, Lin Zan's cultivation crossed an insurmountable gap, crossed an impossible gulf, directly reached the half-step divine king realm that Lin Qingku could only dream of, and the Immortal Slayer's sword in his hand let out a joyful sword cry. A terrifying sword aura capable of splitting galaxies shot skyward, directly sliced the annihilation demon seal that was crashing down. Cleanly in two. Snap, the Forbidden's artifact, shattered with a crisp, delightful sound. Lin Qingku was struck like lightning, suddenly spitting out a mouthful of blood. Her stunning face became completely twisted, her eyes filled with undisguisable terror. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. You're just a lower realm ant. How do you possess the primordial chaos Tao body? What grade of divine weapon are you holding? Not just Ling Qingku. The entire audience was stunned. The Ling clan members even forgot to breathe. Just moments ago, their patriarch was about to perish. But in the next moment, he unleashed divine might that shook heaven and earth. Lin Zan ignored Lin Qingqiu's pointless questions. He could feel the power within him, potent enough to destroy worlds. He could feel the ancient Immortal Slayer's sword connected to his bloodline. He knew
It was his mysterious son again.
secretly helping from the shadows, though he didn't know how his son did it. He knew. Now it was his turn as father to avenge his son. Lin Qingku, you stole from me, broke my sword bones and avenge my son. Lin Qingku, you took my 7 arts treasure. You broke my sword bones. So today I use your head to restore the dignity my Lin family lost. Lin Zan slowly raised the execution sword. The sword tip pointed straight at Lin Qingku. Lin Qingku was so scared her beautiful face turned pale. She kept retreating. Stop him. Protect the Lord. Protect the Lord. Dozens of half-step saints from the Star Sword sect gritted their teeth and charged forward. They tried to trap Lin Zan with their formation. Lin Zan just sneered.
He casually swung his sword.
Immortal execution slash. Heaven and earth annihilated. A 4-colored sword light swept through with unstoppable force. No screams. No blood. Those dozens of half-step saint protectors, along with hundreds of star battleships behind them, under that one slash, were instantly reduced to cosmic dust, completely erased from this world. True instant kill, a real instant kill. Lin Qingku completely broke down. All her pride and resources were as fragile as paper before Lin Zan. She dropped to her knees in midair with a thud. No more arrogance as before. Lin Zan, you can't kill me. I am the Sengses of the Star Sword sect. I have a soul mark from the old ancestor. If you kill me, the old ancestor will destroy the entire Tianyan Empire. Lin Zan showed no sign of mercy. Even if the old ancestor was the king of heaven himself, you'll die today. Flash sword light swept through. You'll die anyway. Flash sword light swept through. Lin Qingqiu's stunning head flew high up. Her eyes still held endless regret. A generation's genius from Star Sword sect fell right then and there. The whole Lin family erupted into thunderous cheers. The crisis is over. We survived. However, just when everyone thought it was finally over, something changed suddenly. From Lin Qingqiu's headless corpse, a burst of blinding blood runes erupted. Those runes in midair quickly drew a massive cross-world blood array. A deep, harsh roar mixed with supreme pressure came from the other side of the blood array. Who dares to kill the mother of no trace? Rumble, rumble. A gigantic hand covered with green scales slowly reached from the blood array. Just the aura from the palm made Lin Zan, who just broke through to half-step Divine King, feel suffocated. That power surpassed the Divine King realm. That was a true supreme divine being. The supreme old ancestor of Star Sword sect. The bloody hand grabbed Lin Qinkyo's soul, trying to revive her. At the same time, a tidal wave of murderous intent locked onto Lin Zan and the whole Lin family. Aunts, I will turn your lower realm into an ocean of blood. Faced with such unstoppable terror, the Lin family's cheering abruptly stopped. They fell even deeper into despair. Lin Zan gripped his execution sword tightly, ready for a fight to the death. Meanwhile, I sat in the courtyard, the corners of my mouth raising wildly, because the system notification in my mind couldn't hold back anymore. Ding detected father killing a powerful enemy. Challenge surpassed your level. Father's strength reached half-step Divine King realm. Passive rule triggered host's cultivation. Raised 3 major realms instantly. Host's cultivation broke through to Immortal Divine Emperor. Boom at that moment. It felt like billions of universes exploded inside me. What heavenly Tao rules? What great Tao essence? I step over them all. Immortal Divine Emperor. If I just blow softly, I can wipe out 3,000 worlds. I looked up at the arrogant scaled giant hand in the sky. My eyes flashed with scornful mockery. You dare touch my dad with just that? I didn't even move a finger. In my heart, I silently thought, go back. Boom, an invisible force of the Earth realm instantly crossed endless dimensions and slammed right onto that giant hand. Crack, crack. Along with the tooth-grinding crunch, that massive hand, radiating supreme divine pressure, broke apart inch by inch, exploded into a cloud of blood mist. From the other side of the blood array came the old ancestor's heart-wrenching scream. Impossible! What kind of power is this? Could it be the Earth realm? The old ancestor's voice was filled with unprecedented terror. He desperately tried to close the blood array and flee. But how could I let him go after coming to my doorstep? Showed off, then tried to run. Things aren't that easy in this world. Right then, the system cooperated perfectly and popped up. Detected old ancestor of Star Sword sect trying to escape. Special reward for the host, cross-world pursuit gift pack. If father kills old ancestor of Star Sword sect across realms, reward supreme sword technique / through time, and divine revival technique. I saw those rewards, and my eyes brightened immediately. Divine revival technique. This can pull the dead back from the river of time. If I get this, I might be able to find out the truth about how mom was taken back then. Another chance for dad to shine. I instantly called the system in my mind. Shoved the comprehension of / through time straight into dad's mind. Lin Zan, holding on with all his might, prepared to risk it all, suddenly felt an indescribable supreme sword intent enter his mind. It was a sword that cut across time and space. He turned around in disbelief towards my direction and instantly understood. It's my precious son again. Direction. Understood instantly. It's my sweetheart, my son powering up. Lin Zan burst out laughing toward the sky, full of energy and spirit. Son, watch closely. Your dad's going to chop up this old toad for your drinks. He gripped the execution sword, turned into a stream of light, and charged straight into the blood array that hadn't closed yet. Entered the upper realm. This badass moment stunned the whole city. Our people from the Tianyan Empire actually counterattacked to the upper realm. The cross-world blood array shook wildly. Through the formation, you could vaguely see the divine mountain of Star Sword sect in the upper realm for miles. Lin Zan was like a tiger among sheep. Wherever the execution sword light passed, the divine mountains collapsed. Thunder and rain shattered. The old ancestor who just lost a hand was scared out of his mind, desperate for mercy. Please, friend, spare me. It's all a misunderstanding. I'll hand over all the Star Sword sect's treasures. Too late, go repent in hell. Lin Zan shouted furiously. He unleashed the sword technique he just comprehended slashed through time. An indescribably brilliant sword light instantly cut across the river of time, severed the old ancestors past, present, and future all at once. The old ancestor of Star Sword sect was completely obliterated. Not even qualification for reincarnation left. The famous Star Sword sect, under this slash, was utterly destroyed. Lin Zan lifted the old ancestor's head and stepped out proudly from the blood array. The whole crowd fell silent, then burst out in silence, then exploded in cheers shaking the 9 heavens. The family head is invincible. Our neighbor is invincible. My dad is crazy cool. The system notification sounded right on cue. Ding, congratulations, father crossed worlds to kill a powerful enemy. Mission accomplished. Divine revival technique reward granted. Reward automatically given to father's body. Lin Zan had just landed when he felt a warm energy rush through his whole body. He was thrilled to discover this energy could actually trace the origin. He rushed to me immediately, shaking with excitement. Fair, did you see Dad's sword just now? Dad not only avenged you, but wiped out the entire Star Sword sect. I gave Dad a thumbs up, smiling. Dad, you're number 1 in the world. Unmatched by anyone. Lin Zan's eyes were a bit red. He trembled as he took out the broken jade pendant he always kept close. Lin Qingku snatched it from him years ago, and now he just got it back. It's also the only thing Mom left behind. With godlike power now, Dad can surely use that divine revival technique to find Mom with this jade pendant. Back then, your mom was taken by a group of mysterious people cloaked in golden light. They forcibly took her away. They said your mom's bloodline was extremely noble. We ordinary folks aren't worthy to be in contact with her. Today, Dad will see just who they are. What exactly are they, those lofty beings? Lin Zan took a deep breath. He activated the divine level resurrection technique within his body. He infused spiritual power into the jade pendant. The pendant burst forth with dazzling 9-colored divine radiance. A holographic shadow slowly unfolded in midair. In the image, a boundless supreme celestial realm appeared. Countless powerful gods with 6 wings on their backs were kneeling before a grand underground palace. On the throne of the palace sat an extraordinarily beautiful woman. Her eyes were full of sorrow. Her gaze seemed to pierce through endless time and space. She was looking right at the 2 of us. Zan, you absolutely mustn't come looking for me. I am the Empress of the Divine Realm. Back then, I ended up in the mortal world to escape enemies. Now my enemies have pinpointed my location. I have no choice but to return and confront them. Zan, take good care of Fanner. If possible, let him live as an ordinary person for his whole life. The image abruptly stopped here. Lin Zan stood frozen on the spot. 2 streams of hot tears rolled down his cheeks. It turns out his wife was actually the Divine Empress. It turns out she left to protect us, and was forced to leave the life of an ordinary person. My son, Lin Zan's boy, how could he possibly live as an ordinary person? Lin Zan suddenly wiped away his tears. A determined light burst forth in his eyes like never before. Fanner, your father has decided. I'm going to shatter the void and ascend to the divine realm. Even if countless gods and Buddhas block my path ahead, I will cut them down with one sword. Even if countless gods and Buddhas block the way, I will cut them down with one sword and slaughter my way through to bring your mother back with honor. Looking at Dad's determined face, I couldn't help but feel delighted. The divine realm sounds great. The divine realm is awesome. There must be even more powerful beings in the divine realm. Their strength must be even greater. As long as Dad goes to the divine realm to fight monsters and level up, he'll outwork all those gods. Then, as the immortal God Emperor, I should be able to break through directly to Universal Creator God. Dad, I fully support you. Go ahead and conquer the divine realm. I'll cheer you on from the lower world. Lin Zan smiled with relief and gently patted my head. Good son, stay home and behave yourself. Wait for Dad's good news. To prevent anyone bullying you after I leave, Dad will leave the Shadow Pavilion to you. Your personal maid, Mu Xiaoxiao, Dad, also used divine power to restore her eyesight and bestowed her a stroke of good fortune. She protect you in Dad's place from now on. Just as he finished speaking, Mu Xiaoxiao ran in from the back hall. The black cloth that once covered her eyes was gone. In its place was a pair of crystal clear, stunning spiritual eyes. Not only did she regain her light and cultivation, Dad even elevated her directly to the Tianyuan realm. Young master, Xiaoxiao won't be a burden anymore. Xiaoxiao wants to protect the young master for a lifetime. Mu Xiaoxiao excitedly lunged into my arms. With teary eyes, she spoke. I gently patted her back, feeling secretly pleased. Dad is truly amazing. Dad is absolutely incredible. He even arranged a bodyguard for me. Over the next few months, the Lin family became the absolute ruler of the Tianyuan Empire, and even the entire Zhuzhou continent. The imperial royal family personally delivered a 10,000-year dragon vein, and bowed in submission to the Lin family. Lin Zan handed over all family affairs to the Shadow Pavilion master Lin Po Jun. He entered secluded cultivation himself, preparing to break through the shackles of heaven and earth and ascend to the divine realm. As for me, I thoroughly began a simple and relaxing life. Every day I sunbathed in the courtyard, eating the fresh fruit wrapped by Mu Xiao. With nothing else to do, I used the divine sense of the God Emperor to scan those so-called geniuses still struggling in secluded cultivation. Watching them cry excitedly over breaking through a small realm moved to tears. I couldn't help but sigh. Cultivating immortality really is tough. Luckily, I have a great dad. Finally, on that morning, a sky full of auspicious omens descended over Lingyan City. 9-colored auspicious clouds covered the sky. Celestial music echoed everywhere. Lin Zan split open the gate of the divine realm with a single sword. He wore golden armor and held the sword of immortal execution. He turned to glance at me and all the Lin family members. Fanner, wait for Daddy to return soon. Finishing his words, he transformed into a stunning rainbow and resolutely stepped into the divine realm. Watching Dad's departing figure, I lazily stretched out. The sky returned to calm. The spatial rift left behind by Dad's ascension had finally closed completely. I lay in the courtyard, on a rocking chair made from 10,000-year-old agar wood, comfortably stretched out in a big, lazy pose. Sunlight slipped through the gaps in the leaves and shone onto my face. Warm and cozy, it made me drowsy. Mu Xiaoxiao squatted obediently by my side, using her fair and jade-like hands to carefully wrap a translucent snow jade Bodhi fruit. Young master, the patriarch has gone to the divine realm. Shouldn't we tone it down a bit here in the lower world? Xiaoxiao blinked the pair of stunning eyes Dad gifted her, which regrew thanks to Dad's blessing. Her tone carried a timid hint of worry. I chewed the sweet, juicy Bodhi fruit in my mouth and couldn't help but laugh out loud. Tone it down? Why should we tone it down? You're a young master. I'm a man destined to win lying down across all worlds. Even if the sky falls, my dad will hold it up. Even if Dad can't, there's still me, the unbeatable son. While we were chatting casually, suddenly, outside the courtyard came urgent, heavy footsteps. Shadow Pavilion Master Lin Po Jun rushed in, drenched in sweat, almost crawling in as he entered the courtyard. He knelt heavily with one knee on the stone slabs. Young master, trouble is brewing. The dragon elephant demon sovereign from the myriad demons continent has brought 100,000 demon troops. The dragon elephant demon sovereign from Chenju has brought 100,000 demon troops. And they are now deployed on our Tianyuan Empire's border. The sea-covering ancestor of Poseidon Island has also led 3,000 elite Sea Clan warriors and surrounded Lingyan City completely. They're spreading news everywhere that the patriarch has ascended, that our Lin family is now like a toothless tiger, leaderless and vulnerable. They're shouting, demanding we hand over all of the Lin family's resources and the 10,000-year dragon vein, or else they'll slaughter everyone in the Lin household, not leaving so much as a chicken or a dog alive. Hearing Lin Po Chun's anxious report, I wasn't the least bit panicked. Instead, I sat up with excitement. Talk about timing, the pillow arrives just when you need to nap. Back when Dad was here, these old monsters were too terrified to even fart. Now that Dad's just left, they're jumping out impatiently right away, playing the part of clowns. Just in time, I've been bored enough that my bones were about to rust. I was actually hoping for something fun to kill time. I leisurely got up from the rocking chair, brushed off imaginary dust from my clothes. Come on, Zhao Xiao, young master. Today I'm taking you to the city wall to watch a nice show. Outside Lingyan City. At this moment, heavy clouds pressed down. Demonic aura soared into the sky. The once clear sky was blanketed by thick black clouds. Even sunlight couldn't break through. A three-headed ancient dragon spanning 1,000 feet was coiling above the heavens, exuding a nauseating deathly aura. That sickening aura of death. On top of the ancient dragon's head stood a gigantic bald man covered in black scales. He held a blood-dripping Zhuanhua axe. He was none other than the absolute ruler of the myriad demons continent, the dragon elephant demon sovereign. Meanwhile, on the other side in midair, a blue giant whale, as large as a mountain, quietly floated there. On the whale's back sat an elder holding a golden trident, his long blue hair dancing in the wind. This elder is the one who ruled the endless sea domains for tens of thousands of years, the sea-covering ancestor. These two are both renowned as semi-saints across Juzhou, respected and powerful beings. Before Dad's rise, they were the unchallenged legends of this world. Fight that coward who abandoned you useless bunch and went off to enjoy life in the divine realm. Now, who could possibly save you? Poor little ants? The dragon elephant demon sovereign let out a deafening roar of laughter. That laughter turned into tangible sound waves, rattling even Lingyan City's sturdy walls, causing bricks to begin falling off. Lin family disciples and Shadow Pavilion death warriors on the city wall were all trembling, their faces pale as ghosts, but not a single one retreated. Sea-covering ancestor stroked his long beard and added sinisterly, "Hand over the 10,000-year dragon vein and Lin family's treasures. This one might just show mercy. And consider leaving your Lin family intact. If any of you dare utter a word of refusal, today Lingyan City will become the grave of everyone here." Lin Pojun suddenly drew the long sword from his waist. The blade pointed straight at the two mighty beings high above the sky. The Lin family can only stand and die. There's absolutely no spineless cowards who'd live on their knees. If you want the secrets of the Lin family, you'll have to step over my corpse first. A bunch of ants dare to defy my will. You really have no idea how close you are to death. The dragon elephant demon lord snorted coldly. His enormous palm abruptly lifted up, slamming fiercely toward the city wall. That palm carried power capable of destroying the world, as if it would crush all of Lingyan City, directly into a pile of meat paste. The terrifying force of the palm pressed down on everyone atop the city wall, making even breathing difficult. Lin Pojun knew he could never withstand this attack. But he still clenched his teeth tightly, ready to burn his soul for a desperate fight. Just at this critical life-or-death moment, I let out a long yawn, slowly walked up the stone steps of the city wall. Geez, what's all this noise in the early morning? Can a guy get some decent sleep around here? Rubbing my sleepy eyes, I casually snapped my fingers. A crisp snap echoed sharply, sounding extra jarring amid the noisy battlefield. Then something horrifying happened. The massive sky-shrouding form of the Dragon Elephant Demon Lord. Dragon Elephant Demon Lord. That giant palm that once blocked out the sun was as if it struck an invisible ancient mountain. It began shattering in midair, inch by inch, turning into a blood-soaked rain across the sky. Ah, my hand! My hand! The Dragon Elephant Demon Lord let out a soul-shattering howl. He stared in disbelief at his now bare wrist, his eyes full of terror and shock. Who is it? Who dared ambush me from the shadows? Come out right now. The entire field fell instantly silent. Everyone's gaze focused on me wearing loose silk pajamas, looking like a harmless, innocent young man. Lin Po-jun trembled with excitement all over. He knelt down fiercely on one knee. Young master, you've finally taken action. Ancestor Fu Hai looked at me, his brows tightly furrowed. You're Lin Zan's good-for-nothing son? How could you possibly withstand the full-force attack from the Dragon Elephant Demon Lord? You must have a life-saving talisman, left behind by some ancient powerhouse. Right? I sighed helplessly. Truly, ignorance breeds fearlessness. I didn't bother to even glance at Ancestor Fu Hai, just turned my gaze to the sky, at the three-headed ancient dragon bearing its fangs and claws. Man, that skeleton dragon is ugly. Kind of an eyesore. Xiao Zhao, what do you think? Mu Zhao took a serious look, then nodded obediently. Too many bones. Not enough meat hard to make soup with it. I laughed heartily. Held up one. I laughed heartily. Stretched out a slender, fair finger, gently traced toward the ancient dragon in the sky. Come down here, you. Boom, boom, boom! A supreme power beyond words instantly crossed space, enveloping that 1,000-jang-long creature. That thing is said to rival a peak level 9 beast at the sea domain. But with just my casual finger movement, it collapsed like a skinned eel, let out a shrill scream, and fell straight out of the sky. With a loud crash, the massive ancient dragon smashed heavily into the wilderness outside Lingyan City. Forcefully, created a bottomless giant crater. Dragon Elephant Demon Lord and Ancestor Fu Hai were completely stunned. The 100,000 demons and 3,000 elite sea warriors they brought were so terrified they dropped their weapons on the ground. With a clattering sound. How is this possible? Not even Lin Zan had ever defeated a three-headed ancient demon so effortlessly before. Ancestor Fu Hai's voice trembled violently.
He finally realized
That this youth before him, whom they'd always considered the Lin family's biggest failure, is actually 10,000 times scarier than Lin Zan. Maybe even 100,000 times an unparalleled powerhouse. Retreat! Retreat now! All troops withdraw. Ancestor Fu Hai made a split-second decision. He desperately urged his blue mount beneath his feet. The fallen giant blue whale shifted its massive body, trying to flee the scene. Dragon Elephant Demon Lord ignored the agony from his severed hand, turned into a streak of black light, and fled madly toward the direction of the myriad demon continent. You think you can come and go as you please, whatever you want. What, do you think my family's gate is some kind of supermarket entrance? I sneered, lightly tapped my right foot against the blue bricks of the city wall. The laws of heaven and earth fully obeyed my command at that moment. The space within 100,000 miles instantly became the hardest prison in existence. Dragon Elephant Demon Lord and Ancestor Fu Hai were like two headless flies, crashing hard against the invisible walls of space. Bang bang, two loud impacts. These two peerless havings of sage lords were bounced back by the backlash force and landed heavily in the muddy ground outside Lingyan City, falling embarrassingly like a dog eating mud. I placed my hands behind my back, walking as if taking a casual stroll, gently floated down from the city wall, and walked straight in front of them. Just now you said you'd wipe out my entire Lin family, and wanted me to die without a complete corpse. Dragon Elephant Demon Lord and Ancestor Fu Hai were scared out of their wits, groveling without dignity in the muddy water, desperately kowtowing and begging for mercy. Spare us, young master. We were blind and failed to recognize your greatness. We must have had dog eyes to offend a true god. Please, young master, treat us as nothing and let us go. We're willing. Please, young master, treat us as nothing and let us go. We're willing to offer the myriad demon continent and all spiritual treasures of Sea God Island, and serve the Lin family as our master forever. Be the Lin family's most loyal dogs. Watching them grovel and sob, crying miserably, I suddenly felt bored. I was hoping for a longer show, to get some exercise, but these two geezers couldn't even take a bit, their bones softer than those little demons. I turned around, looking at Lin Po-jun still stunned atop the wall. Po-jun, gather some people. Bring their cultivation down to the key gathering stage. Promote them to our Lin family kitchen staff. Let them chop wood, boil water, and clean toilets. As for those 100,000 demons and 3,000 sea elites, brand them all as slaves. Send them to the back mountain to mine. Lin Pojun came back to his senses, face flushed with excitement, and shouted out his orders. Understood, young master. I'll get right on it. I guarantee everything will be handled perfectly. All the city's people and Lin family members broke out into thunderous cheers. Young master is unbeatable. Long live the Lin family. They thought after the family leader ascended, the Lin family would fall from grace and be slaughtered at will. Never did they expect young master Lin Fan was the real hidden demon king, the unshakable pillar that supports the heavens. Watching the cheering, jumping crowd, I couldn't help but laugh inside. This is just the beginning. I've mastered the proto-rules of creation. I'm the immortal God Emperor who's mastered those proto-rules of creation. Dealing with these folks from the lower world is not even a warm-up. After dealing with these trivial lower world issues, I returned to my recliner in the courtyard, laid down comfortably. Mu Zhaozhao peeled a grape and popped it in my mouth. Just as I was about to close my eyes for a nap, that familiar system notification echoed in my mind. Host's father Lin Zan has succeeded in crossing the world barrier and entered the divine realm. Current location, 9th heaven, abyssal ascension pool, divine realm. Danger alert. Host's father has encountered a native force in the divine realm. The cruel exploitation of the Sky Blue Divine Clan. Young master of the Sky Blue Divine Clan covets the rare imperial sword, the executioner sword, in the host's father's hand. Intends to forcibly seize it and strip away the host's father's divine foundation. Host, please respond immediately, or your father will face complete annihilation of his soul. The jarring alarm in my mind made me sit upright in an instant. A cold gleam flashed through my eyes. Well, the Sky Blue Divine Clan. My dad just stepped through the Divine Realm's gate. He hasn't even had a proper breath of the Divine Realm's air. And you dumb native thugs want to crap right on my dad's head? My dad is my cheat code for dominating the righteous path. Touch even a single hair on him, and touch a single hair on his head, and you're interfering with my path to godhood. You must be tired of living. System. Open the God Realm, Father's love as solid as a mountain combo gift pack for me. I roared in my mind through gritted teeth. Since the people of the God Realm have no sense of honor, then I'll give my old man a dimensional strike. Super technique. Congratulations to the host. Successfully opened the God Realm, Father's love as solid as a mountain combo gift pack. Obtained the God Realm exclusive item, Supreme Divine Tao Law Deprivation. Another reward, the Primordial Genesis level defensive artifact, the Eternal Immortal God Emperor Armor Set. Obtained 1 God Realm Heavenly Tao Experience card, valid for half an hour. All rewards have been processed via the system's hidden channel and directly bound to the soul of the host's father. Detected the host's urgent desire to protect his father. A cross-realm live stream light screen is specially gifted. The host can stay in the lower realm and watch his father showing off in the God realm in real time. Hearing these rewards, the anger in my heart instantly dissipated by more than half. It was replaced by the anticipation of watching a good show. This system is just too thoughtful. Depriving divine Tao laws, plus Genesis level divine armor, and then the Heavenly Tao experience card. This isn't just someone going to ascend. This is someone going to the God realm to be a living Yoma. I leaned back comfortably in my rocking chair. Zhao, go to the storehouse. Bring out that jar of jade nectar stored for 5,000 years. From the storehouse, that jar of 5,000-year-old jade nectar. Bring it out, master. Today I'm going to watch a grand drama in the God realm while I drink. Mu Zhaozhao nodded obediently. She dashed off to the cellar in a flash. I snapped my fingers. In the void before me, a massive holographic light screen suddenly emerged. The image on the screen gradually became clear. It was a vast, boundless white jade plaza. Surrounded by swirling mist, it radiated a staggering immortal aura. In the center of the plaza, there was a massive pool emitting 7-colored divine light. It was exactly the God Realm's Ascension reception pool. And at this very moment, my newly ascended white-haired father, Lin Zan, was standing there, holding the immortal slaying sword alone at the edge of the pool. Around him, layer upon layer, was a crowd of divine soldiers and generals in silver armor. Any one of those divine generals picked at random had a cultivation level reaching the half-step God-King realm of the lower realm. And directly in front of these divine generals stood a slick-looking, extravagantly dressed young man of the god race. In his hand, he swayed a folding fan encrusted with star gems. The way he looked at my father was full of superior contempt and blatant greed. This young man was the young master of the sky blue god tribe, Young Wuji, Yuan from the lower realm. To be able to ascend to my sky blue god tribe's jurisdiction in the 9th abyssal heaven is a blessing you haven't earned in 8 lifetimes. Yun Wuji pointed at me with his folding fan. Yun Wuji pointed his folding fan at my father, speaking with extreme arrogance. Hand over that sword in your hand, then kneel down obediently, and swear to be a mining divine slave for my sky blue god tribe for all eternity. I'm in a good mood today, so I might consider sparing your dog of a life. Otherwise, I will drain your ascension source right now, cast you into the 9 nether purgatory, and you shall never be reincarnated. In the light screen, my father, Lin Zan, spat out a mouthful of blood with sheer disdain. While crossing the world barrier earlier, he had sustained some minor injuries. But this didn't affect his pride in the slightest. Make your Grandpa Lin a slave? Based on you, a little punk whose hair hasn't even grown in yet? My father gave a cold laugh. The immortal slaying sword in his hand let out a crisp ring. When I was slaughtering my way through the 9 provinces in the lower realm, your ancestors were still rolling around in the mud. If you want to fight, then fight. Why all this nonsense? Hearing this, Young Wuji's face instantly turned livid. At this ascension pool, which he had managed for tens of thousands of years, never before had an ascender from the lower realm dared to speak to him like that. Since you refuse the easy way, then take the hard way. Cut him into pieces. I want that sword back completely intact. At Yun Wuji's command, the surrounding hundreds of divine generals erupted with terrifying divine power fluctuations at once. All kinds of world-destroying divine techniques bombed toward my father like a violent storm. Just as my father was prepared to fight to the death, an ethereal notification tone only he could hear echoed in his mind. Dang, you're good, eldest son. Lin Fan has sent you the God Realm's counterattack combo gift pack. Eternal Immortal God Emperor armor has been automatically equipped. Supreme Divine Dao Law Deprivation Order has been activated. God Realm Heavenly Dao Experience card is now in effect. In the light screen, I clearly saw my father's expression. First, it was astonishment. Then it turned into wild joy. He was all too familiar with this pattern. Every time he was in a desperate situation, his seemingly lazy precious son would always cook up some world-destroying trump cards for him. Boom! Just as the attacks of hundreds of divine generals were about to land on my father, a set of purple gold divine armor radiating a chaotic aura appeared out of thin air on him. Those terrifying attacks that could easily destroy countless star domains in the lower realm struck the God Emperor armor, but not even a single spark flew. It was as if a gentle breeze had brushed over a hill, leaving no trace behind. The entire place fell into a deathly silence instantly. Yun Wuji's hand holding the folding fan froze in mid-air. His eyes were practically popping out of his head. How is this possible? Even a God tribe elder wouldn't dare use their physical body to take a combined strike from so many divine generals head-on. You, a mere ant just ascended from the lower realm, how could you have a defensive artifact of this level on you? My father didn't even... How could you have a defensive artifact of this level on you? My father completely ignored his shock, feeling the terrifying power within his body, as if
he could control the rules of the entire God realm.
The corner of my father's mouth curled into an extremely cruel smile. You little brat, weren't you barking quite happily just now? Now it's your Grandpa Lin's turn. My father slowly raised his right hand. In the center of his palm appeared a simple, unadorned black token. Deprivation order issued. Divine Tao collapses. My father gave a loud shout. The token in his hand suddenly erupted with billions of rays of black divine light. Those lights were like venomous snakes with eyes, instantly burrowing into the bodies of all the surrounding soldiers and generals. Then a hair-raising scene occurred. The hundreds of high and mighty divine generals suddenly began to scream in terror. The divine armor on their bodies shattered inch by inch. The divine power in their bodies was like a bursting dam, draining away frantically. Their skin began to shrivel, and their eyes, which originally glowed with divine light, instantly became muddy and dull. No, my cultivation! My Godhead! Why can't I feel the laws of heaven and earth anymore? Save us, young master! Help! In just 3 breaths' time, hundreds of elite warriors from the divine realm have all been stripped of their divine laws, falling directly from lofty deities to become useless beings inferior to mortals, collapsed one by one beside the Ascension pool, crying and wailing. Collapsed by the Ascension pool, crying and wailing. Cloud Wuji's legs buckled in terror. He dropped straight to his knees. Although he hadn't been stripped of his cultivation, he witnessed this unimaginable divine miracle firsthand. These are not mere ants ascending from the lower realm. This is like the arrival of an ancient god emperor. Who are you really? You're definitely not an ordinary cultivator from the lower realm. You've been hiding your true cultivation, haven't you? Cloud Wuji asked, his voice trembling, scrambling backward in panic. His arrogance from moments ago had already vanished without a trace. My father, holding the immortal slaying sword, walked step by step to Cloud Wuji. The tip of his sword pressed against Cloud Wuji's throat. Who am I, your Grandpa Lin? I never change my name when I walk, and never change my surname when I sit. Tianyan Empire. In battle, my father stared down coldly at him. I originally just wanted to ascend quietly and go find my wife, but you just had to jump out and court death. So don't blame me for being ruthless, just as my father was about to. And this young master of the divine clan with one strike. High above the 9 heavens, a roar resounded, shattering the stars. How dare you, insolent brat? You dare to harm my son. Come and face death. A colossal hand formed purely from destructive lightning, condensed to a height of 10,000 feet, ripped open the sky, carrying supreme divine power able to erase all living beings, slammed down fiercely toward my father. Cloud Wuji saw the giant hand, and instantly clung to it like a lifeline, laughing maniacally. My father is coming, oh heavens. Afraid my father will show up? The patriarch of my sky blue divine clan is here. Lingzan, you're done for. Even if you have a divine artifact to protect you, today you'll still be crushed to dust. In front of the light screen, I took a sip of Mujoxio's freshly poured nectar. Couldn't help but shake my head. After beating the younger ones, the elders come in with their old tricks. Doesn't matter if it's the lower or upper realm, the routine never changes. But unfortunately, you're not kicking an iron plate today. You're facing the hardest steel in the universe. In the light screen, my father faced that terrifying thunder giant hand, without a hint of backing down. He slightly raised his head. A flash of utter madness appeared deep in his eyes. Divine Clan Patriarch, right? Today, I'll let you taste what the true will of heaven feels like. My father, without hesitation, crushed the heavenly Tao trial card from the divine realm, but the 9th heaven abyss, at that moment, instantly fell into absolute stillness. The wind stopped, the clouds dispersed, even the world-destroying thunder hand froze in midair, unable to descend. A supreme, indescribable, unseeable terrifying will erupted from my father's body. At that instant, my father Linzan became the heavenly Tao of this divine realm. His words became law. He controlled the life and death and reincarnation of all beings. Destroy my father casually uttered one word. That thunder giant hand, thousands of feet wide, instantly became covered. The enormous thunder hand instantly became covered in cracks like glass. Then it exploded with a bang. turning into countless flashes of lightning, dispersing between heaven and earth. Above the heavens, the true form of the sky blue divine clan's patriarch appeared. A divine clan powerhouse wearing a purple gold crown. At this moment, he gazed down in terror at the white-haired man below. His whole body shook uncontrollably with fear. The will of heaven. How is this possible? You, just a common mortal from the lower realm? How could you possibly borrow the power of the divine realm's heavenly Tao? The sky blue leader was scared out of his wits and turned to tear through space to escape without hesitation. Want to run? Have you asked my sword? My father sneered coldly. The exterminate immortal sword swung forward effortlessly. There was no dazzling sword energy, no overwhelming aura, but with the blessing of heavenly Tao's power, this strike transcended time and space. Whoosh, the sky blue leader, tens of thousands of miles away, his body suddenly stiffened. A thin bloodline appeared between his brows. Then his divine soul and immortal body vanished silently into nothingness. One strike killed the sky blue divine clan patriarch. Yan Wuji completely broke down. A puddle of yellow liquid spilled from his crotch. He was literally scared out of his wits and passed out cold. My father put away the exterminate immortal sword and let out a long breath of turbid air. The heavenly Tao trial card's effect ended. He exhaled as the trial card's effect ended. That supreme power faded like a receding tide. Though it lasted less than half an hour, my father seized the chance to fully comprehend the divine realm's law secrets. His cultivation once again reached an unbelievable breakthrough. The divine realm's levels: divine human, divine general, divine king, divine sovereign, divine emperor. My father was originally only at half-step divine king level. After absorbing the sky blue leader's dissipated heavenly Tao essence, his realm ascended at rocket speed. Divine king beginning, divine king perfection, divine sovereign beginning to divine sovereign peak, and finally slowed down. Not even a day since ascending, he already became a famous divine sovereign powerhouse. If word got out, the whole divine realm's geniuses would be so ashamed they'd collectively descend from the lower realm. In the courtyard, I watched my father's spirited appearance on the light screen and couldn't help but applaud. Well done. The more awesome you are, Dad, the more invincible I am as your son. Sure enough, the wonderful sound of the system arrived in my mind right on cue. Ding, detected that host's father has achieved an incredible turnaround in the divine realm. Face slap, detected that host's father's cultivation has broken through to divine sovereign peak. Unique passive law, triggered host's realm synchronizes to surpass father's realm. Synchronizing surpassing father's realm by 3 major levels. Boom, this time. The commotion in my body was countless times greater than ever before. I was already at immortal divine emperor level, but now, pushed by this heaven-defying law, I directly broke through the limits of divine emperor, stepping into a mysterious realm that no one in history had ever entered. Creation God realm, grand perfection. In that instant, my body became ethereal and transparent. Inside me, countless universes began to evolve on their own. Stars, moons, celestial bodies coursed through my meridians. 3,000 great law principles thrived endlessly in my energy core. I wasn't inside this universe anymore, but this universe was fully under my control. With a single thought, I could annihilate the 9 provinces continent below. With another thought, I could revive all things and return everything to primordial chaos. That is the power of the creation God. I savored this indescribable ultimate, invincibility, and gently sighed. Being invincible is just so lonely. Can't even find a rival who can make me break a sweat. Not a single one. Just as I was lost in thought, the sky above 9 provinces suddenly turned pitch black. It wasn't just clouds covering the sun, but pure darkness swallowing all the light. An ancient, evil, decaying aura to the extreme surged from the deepest part of 9 provinces continent, erupting from the depths of the earth. Crack, crack. The entire land of 9 provinces started to fracture violently. Countless mountains collapsed, rivers broke apart. A hoarse, piercing, terrifying laugh as if from ages long past exploded in the minds of every being in the lower realm. It's been 1,000,000 years. I, the Demon Emperor, have finally broken this damned divine realm seal sky blue divine clan. You despicable lot imprisoned me in the lower realm. And today I finally see the light of day again. I will drain every living being on 9 provinces continent to restore myself and ascend to the divine realm. Hearing that voice, I raised my brow. Oh, so it's the old monster sealed by the sky blue divine clan in the lower realm. Seems like Dad slaughtered the sky blue patriarch above, loosening the seal, letting the sky escape. I looked at the sky, where a massive demon face took form. Instead of fear, I felt happy. Just so happens I broke through to creation god realm and wanted a sandbag to try my hand. Now the sandbag came straight to me. Mu Xiao, step back a bit. Don't let this ugly demon's aura dirty your clothes, I said gently to Mu Xiao. Mu Xiao obediently backed under the eaves, holding a crystal plate full of grapes, gazing at the sky with admiration. Crystal plate and gaze full of worship, looking at the abyss in the sky. The Demon Emperor obviously noticed something strange toward Lingyan City.
His giant eyes like bloody lakes.
Locked tightly onto my courtyard. There's actually a mortal here whose cultivation I can't see through. The Abyss Demon Emperor uttered confused words, then transformed into a black hurricane that covered the sky, instantly descending upon Lingyan City. Boy, why are you not kneeling before the Demon Emperor? There isn't a single god-level powerhouse in this world. I am now the sole ruler of this 9 provinces continent. Hand over your soul, and I will make you my first god servant. The Demon Emperor was extremely arrogant. Terrifying demonic aura pressed the citizens of Lingyan City to the ground. Nobody could move, except for my little courtyard, which seemed cut off from the world. When demonic aura approached the courtyard wall, it melted away instantly like snow and lava, disappearing into thin air. I lay on my rocking chair, not even lifting my eyes, just lazily stretching. You, 1,000,000-year-old scrap, and you dare call yourself ruler. You have 3 seconds to crawl back where you came from, or I'll make sure you don't even get a chance to be a ghost. The Abyss Demon Emperor froze. He never expected that a harmless-looking young man would dare talk to him like that. He was a true ancient. He is from ancient times, a peerless demon whose name made even the gods tremble. Reckless ants courting death, unaware of their limits. I, the Emperor, will devour you in one bite. The Demon Emperor erupted in furious rage. He opened his abyss-like bloody maw, transforming into endless darkness and devouring power. He bit fiercely toward the entire courtyard. The suction was so strong, it even tore apart the fabric of space, revealing pitch-black void. Chaos reigned, yet I still didn't stand up. I just languidly raised my right hand, pressed my index and middle fingers together, and flicked lightly toward the Abyss Demon Emperor suspended in midair. A transparent stream of energy as thin as a strand of hair shot from my fingertip. This energy looked utterly powerless, barely able to move a single leaf. But the instant it was fired, time seemed to stop across the entire 9 provinces. At this moment, the Demon Emperor's pupils contracted violently. He sensed the law within that transparent stream of energy. It was far beyond God level, even surpassed the founding laws he knew. No, what is this power? Who are you? The Demon Emperor let out a desperate, piercing scream. He tried desperately to retract his attack. Escape from here. But it was already too late. That transparent energy,
Casually.
pierced through the Demon Emperor. His so-called indestructible demon god body didn't cause any earth-shaking explosion, nor any dazzling special effects. The Demon Emperor's enormous body that blotted out the sky was like ice and snow under sunlight, slowly melting away in the breeze, turning into countless black dots of light, completely dissipating between heaven and earth. Even his core soul was directly erased by that Genesis energy, clean and thorough. From his appearance to his demise, all happened in less than half a second. 100,000 great demons and elite sea clans outside Lingyan City lay flat on the ground, watching the scene in the sky. Every one of them was so terrified their souls were trembling. They knew the young master of the Lin family was powerful, but never imagined his power would be this outrageous. That was an ancient demon emperor, able to wipe out the entire 9 provinces with a breath. Yet, in front of this young master, he couldn't even withstand the power of a single finger. I blew on my finger, pretending to sigh a bit regretfully. Oops, used too much force. I was planning to keep him alive, to use him as fertilizer for the spirit herb garden on the back hill. He was too fragile. So lonely, so lonely. The 9 provinces regained absolute peace. A gentle rain even fell from the sky. Heaven's laws were thanking me for eliminating the demon emperor as a hidden threat. I turned my focus back to the cross-world livestream. On the screen, Dad was in the starter village of the Divine Realm. He was thriving there, relying on his peak divine sovereign cultivation, and the immortal slaying sword in his hand. He fought his way through the 9th heaven abyss, and directly reached the Divine Realm's core, the 9-fold heaven domain. Along the way, Dad was searching everywhere for Mom's whereabouts. Finally, in an ancient ruin of the Divine Realm, he found a memory stone. Turns out my mother wasn't just the Empress of the Divine Realm, but also carried the destiny to suppress the ultimate calamity of the Divine Realm. She once fell to the mortal world and fell in love with Dad, gave birth to me and spent the happiest days of her life. But the 9 highest divine kings of the Divine Realm had locked onto her location. They forcibly took my mother away, not for some noble bloodline, but to use her as the core of a formation, imprisoned in the endless abyss at the deepest part of the Divine Realm. Every day they extract her Empress origin, to repair the declining fundamental laws of the Divine Realm. And those 9 divine kings enjoy the Divine Realm's benefits without conscience, aloof and above all. Dad watched the memory stone scenes on the screen, and was completely driven mad. His eyes bled, his white hair instantly turned blood red. 9 divine kings, I will fight you to the death. Even if I spill every last drop of blood, I will flatten the endless abyss. I will flatten the endless abyss. And rescue my wife. Dad became a blood-red streak, charging headlong toward the endless abyss. Seeing this, turned ice-cold in an instant. Turns out when my mother was taken, she was not only forced, but has been tormented by these false gods all this time. These so-called noble supreme divine kings actually sustain their rule by sucking a woman's blood. Utterly disgusting. The scene on the screen shifted. Dad had already reached the entrance of the endless abyss, the most dangerous forbidden area in the Divine Realm, surrounded by peerless divine formations laid by the 9 divine kings. At the center of the abyss, thick chaotic chains pierced through a flawless woman's flesh, pinning her tightly in the void. Even though the woman looked haggard, and her face was pale, she still could not hide her stunning beauty. That was my mother, the divine empress of the Divine Realm, Luo Qing'an. And around the abyss sat 9 towering divine kings thousands of feet tall, radiating supreme aura. War song. Don't come any closer. Leave now, it's a trap. When Mom saw Dad, the darkness in her eyes instantly exploded into horror. She ignored the pain of chains tearing her flesh and struggled desperately, crying out to Dad, "It's too late." Since this ant from the lower realm came to us, let him become more nourishment for the abyss. The leading divine king spoke with a merciless, cold, booming voice. 9 divine kings simultaneously opened their eyes. 9 beams of destructive divine light formed a celestial net, trapping Dad in the center. Dad frantically swung the immortal slaying sword, summoning Hongmeng, pushing his chaos physique to its limit, to the extreme. One sword split past and present. Break! The blood-red swordlight tore through layer after layer of formations, and struck fiercely against the Divine King's avatar. But this time, Dad's opponents were too strong. The 9 Divine Kings, are the ultimate rulers of the divine realm, who have lived for billions of years. They have already fused with the divine realm's origin. Dad's sword did cut off an arm of one of the divine kings, but it instantly regenerated. Then Dad was sent flying by their combined attack, crashing heavily into the abyss wall, blood staining the stone walls red. The immortal slaying sword in his hand let out a mournful cry. Fractures appeared all over its blade. An ant from the lower realm dares challenge the divine king's authority? Overestimating yourself. The divine kings mocked him, ready to deliver the final judgment, to utterly erase Dad. Mom cried out in utter despair. Mom cried out with heartbreaking anguish. Tears in her eyes turned to blood and dripped down. Dad struggled to prop up his battered body. With the fractured immortal slaying sword, he wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, still standing firmly at the abyss entrance, not backing down an inch. Chilled, don't be afraid. I promised you, I'll bring you home in glory. I, Lin Zan, never break my word. Dad was ready to burn his soul for one last do-or-die attack. Seeing Dad's tragic figure on screen, I took a deep breath. My eyes even grew a bit red. Dad may be stubborn at times, but when it comes to protecting family, he's unmatched. Enough, Dad. You've already done great. Let the rest be handled by this son you've always seen as a useless failure. I stood up. The silk night robe on my body stirred without wind. The Genesis divine power that was hidden inside me was now completely unrestrained, fully released. Crackle, crackle. Just my released aura caused the world barrier of the 9 provinces to collapse crazily. It simply couldn't withstand the existence of a Genesis god like me. Little Zhou Xiao, let's go to the divine realm to bring Grandma home. I turned to Mu Zhou Xiao, my tone calm yet filled with undeniable authority. Mu Zhou Xiao didn't hesitate at all and walked right over to my side. Hesitating, she walked right up to me. She tightly hugged my arm. Wherever the young master goes, Zhao Zhao will go too. I smiled gently. I raised my right hand, fingers together like a sword. I slashed fiercely toward the heavens above. With a thunderous roar, a rift piercing through the lower realm and the divine realm appeared. A massive spatial fissure connecting endless dimensions. It instantly appeared before me. No formation involved. No consciousness present. As the creator god, I forcibly tore apart the barrier of the universe. Bringing Mu Zhaozhao with me, I stepped into the fissure. In the next second, time and space shifted dramatically. We directly descended upon the endless abyss of the divine realm. At this moment, the final judgment of the 9 divine kings was about to fall upon my father. My father had already closed his eyes, ready to embrace death. Just at this critical moment, I stood above the 9 heavens. I merely let out a light snort. No surging divine power fluctuations. Just a single syllable. That destructive judgment, the culmination of all 9 divine kings' power, struck with all their might. But it was like a defeated foe, badly wounded, suddenly vanishing in midair without a trace. Not even a ripple of divine energy remained. Who dares to interfere with the affairs of the 9 divine kings? The icons of the 9 divine kings suddenly raised their heads, looking toward that young man who had suddenly appeared in the sky. The moment they saw me clearly, the 9 supreme divine kings collectively felt. They realized their pride, the divine realm's core source, was suddenly overwhelmed with terror, submitting to that young man. My father abruptly opened his eyes, staring at the familiar figure in the sky. He was completely stunned. Vanner, how did you get up here? It's dangerous here. Hurry back to the lower realm. My father shouted anxiously, not caring at all about his wounds. My mother, Luo Qing'an, also looked at me in a daze, tears streaming uncontrollably from her eyes. That face, those features, were exactly like Lin Zan's youth. That was his son, the one he longed for day and night.
His son?
But this is the most dangerous place in the divine realm. How could this child appear here? I ignored the terror of the 9 divine kings, stepping down slowly from the sky, one step at a time. With each step, a golden lotus formed beneath my feet, condensed by the essence of creation. The entire divine realm's laws and rules collapsed beneath my feet, and then reformed. Dad, I've come to take you and Mom home. I walked up to my father. With a gentle wave of my hand, a soft surge of creative life force flooded into his body. His fatal injuries instantly healed. The broken immortal execution sword regained its dazzling four-colored divine light. Its rank even improved further. Immediately after, I turned to look at the 9 high and mighty divine kings. Then, I turned to gaze at those 9 lofty divine kings. Their expressions in that moment became colder than ancient ice. You trash are the ones who chained my mother. You worthless fools are the ones who injured my father. The 9 divine kings shivered under my stare. The leading divine king shouted angrily with false bravado. Don't think you're a god or anything. No matter your cultivation, in this divine realm, we are the absolute rulers. Unlock the divine array of 9 heavens and 10 lands. All 9 divine kings burned their divine cores at once, preparing to fight to the death. Facing their terrifying formation, one powerful enough to return the divine realm to chaos, I merely shook my head slightly. My eyes were full of pity. Your understanding of power is truly laughable. I slowly raised my right hand. My 5 fingers clenched fiercely in the void. The word deprivation was spoken. Time and space across the divine realm, and all the laws of heaven and earth, were plunged into absolute death. The 9 divine kings were utterly terrified. They found they couldn't even summon any divine energy. Even their divine cores and souls within their bodies, even the very traces of their existence in this universe, were being forcibly erased by an irresistible power. Who are you? You are definitely not someone from the divine realm. The leading divine king let out a final cry of despair. I looked at them, speaking with a calm, flat tone. Who am I? Flatly, who am I? My name is Ling Fen, an ordinary mortal from the lower realm who likes to take it easy. But you trash aren't even qualified to make me take action. Shatter. My 5 fingers fully closed. Boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. 9 deep, muffled explosions rang out one after another in the endless abyss. The lofty 9 divine kings, along with their towering incarnations, didn't even get the chance to beg for mercy, like 9 cheap fireworks, bursting in the sky into brilliant showers of light. Their souls and everything were obliterated. Even their qualifications for reincarnation were forcibly erased by me from the river of fate. The chaotic chains restraining my mother vanished at the moment the divine kings fell. My mother Luo Qingyan lost her support and fell from midair. Father reacted quickly, leaping forward, and he held my mother tightly in his arms. The 2 lovers who had endured countless hardships finally embraced tightly at this moment, unable to hold back their tears. Qingyan, I finally found you. John, I thought I'd never see you again in this lifetime. Watching my parents reunite in such a heartwarming scene, I let out a long sigh of relief, finally feeling a weight lifted from my heart. Suddenly, it began flashing wildly, radiating an intense red glow. The system panel in my mind suddenly turned a glaring blood-red color. A piercing alarm sounded. It was practically drilling into my creator soul. Warning, warning. Detected. Host's father has successfully rescued his wife. Host's father's ultimate life goal has been completed. His will to strive is plummeting off a cliff. His motivation for struggle has dropped to absolute zero. Prosperous husband's path. Major conflict detected in the system's core logic. If the host's father completely loses his desire to become stronger, this system will lose its reason to exist. Destruction will be triggered automatically. When the program activates, the universe where the host resides will be completely rebooted, returning to nothingness. Looking at those crazily pulsing blood-red words in my mind, I instantly felt terrible. What kind of hellish, ridiculous setup is this? Damn it, I'm already an immortal and indestructible creator god, and yet I still have to put up with this rigid system's nonsense. My father went through countless trials, escaping death multiple times, finally rescuing my mother. They reunited, holding each other tenderly. And now you're telling me my dad has to draw his sword and fight thin air at this moment. System, are you just bitter from being single too long? And can't stand seeing other people's happy families? I was just about to use my creator god's power to forcibly mute this blind system, or even dismantle and reassemble it completely, when suddenly, from the very bottom of the endless abyss, a terrifying cracking sound erupted. From the deepest depths came a horrifying, spine-chilling cracking sound. Crunch. The crunch sounded like some massive creature was chewing on the world's barrier of this realm. The divine realm, which had started to calm down because the 9 divine kings had fallen, suddenly began to shake violently. Suddenly tremors erupted, far more terrifying than all 9 divine kings combined, 10,000 times more horrific. An ancient evil aura, bursting forth from the bottomless abyss, like a volcanic eruption. Those auras gave off a sickening dark purple color. Wherever they passed, even the void of the divine realm was corroded, forming massive black holes. Be careful, Zan. Mother Luo Qing'an was the first to react. She had been imprisoned here for countless days and nights, so she was all too familiar with the bottom of the abyss auras. Her stunning face was full of terror as she grabbed father's arm tightly. Beneath the abyss, something is still sealed down there. That is, a primordial terror even the 9 divine kings deeply feared. It turns out, they extracted my Empress Mother's core essence, not just to maintain their rule, but also to fortify the ultimate seal at the bottom of the abyss. Now that the 9 divine kings are dead, the seal is completely shattered, and that thing is coming out. As soon as Mother finished speaking, a wild laugh shook the entire divine realm, even reverberating across all the worlds, echoing violently from the abyss below. 100 million. 100 million years. It's been a full 100 million years. I have finally seen the light of day again. Accompanied by this wild laughter, a massive shadow, indescribable in words, slowly rose from the endless abyss. His body was massive to the extreme, with only half of it emerging from the abyss. It had already completely obscured the entire 9th heaven abyss. He had no concrete form, resembling a writhing mass of dark purple nebula. Within the nebula, tens of thousands of crimson eyeballs grew, and in every single eyeball, there was an extreme greed that suggested the destruction and consumption of all things. I am the first wisp of nihility Ki from the beginning of the universe, incarnated as the Void Devourer. The 9 great god kings, those useless trash, thought they could suppress me forever using the Empress's source energy. How utterly ridiculous. Now they have brought about their own destruction. In this universe, no one can stop me from enjoying a grand feast anymore. The Void Devourer's tens of thousands of crimson eyeballs turned simultaneously, and finally, stared fixedly at my father and mother, who were holding each other. What a pure scent of flesh and blood. Especially you, the God Realm Empress. Your source energy is simply the most delicious snack in the world. Obediently become a part of me. The Void Devourer let out a greedy roar, as countless tentacles, condensed from dark purple nihility Ki, swooped down toward my father and mother from all directions. Every single tentacle carried a terrifying power that even a god-venerable realm master could be instantly killed by. Zan, take our child and leave quickly. A look of determination flashed in my mother Luo Qing'an's eyes. She actually wanted to push my father away, sacrifice herself, and block that monster. But how could my father possibly let her do that? Qing'an, I've said it before. As long as I'm here, no one will touch a single hair on your head. My father Lin Zan not only didn't retreat, but instead shielded my mother behind him. The warmth in his eyes instantly transformed into endless battle intent, fury, and raw power. I just wanted to quietly pick up my wife and go home. But you blind fools keep jumping out one after another looking for trouble. I don't care if you're a god king or some devourer. If you dare block my path today, you all must die. My father let out an unyielding roar toward the sky, the immortal slaying sword in his hand. burst forth with an unprecedented, brilliant divine light.
He activated the primordial chaos.
And Tao body to a level beyond their limits. His cultivation at the peak of the God-venerable realm, at this moment, actually showed faint signs of breaking through to the God-emperor realm. One sword to sever the past and present. Slash, my father leaped up, turning into a peerless sword light that tore through the galaxy, towards the purple tentacles filling the sky. Slashed fiercely at the purple tentacles filling the sky. Seeing this scene, I felt a slight sense of relief in my heart. My old man's fighting spirit was ignited again, and the red system light flashing crazily in my mind finally stopped. The blood-red warning characters gradually faded, and the system returned to normal. It seems this system is a real glutton for punishment. It only feels right when there's pressure. But looking at my father's desperate stance, I shook my head. Though my father is brave, his current realm is too far from that void devourer. That is an ancient monster that can even devour the heavenly Tao of the God realm. As expected, my father's peerless sword strike, which could kill a God king, slashed onto those purple tentacles, and surprisingly, only produced a series of ear-piercing metallic grinding sounds. Not even a white mark was left on the tentacles. Instead, a powerful countershock force traveled directly through the immortal slaying sword into my father's body. My father let out a muffled groan. A mouthful of blood sprayed out, and he was sent flying back like a kite with a broken string, smashing heavily onto the rocks at the edge of the abyss. Zan! My mother let out a heart-wrenching scream. She rushed over to my father, helped him up. With an ant like you think you can harm my body of nihility? Simply overestimating your capabilities. The Void Devourer let out a contemptuous laugh. The purple tentacles did not slow down, continuing to press down on them from all directions. Just as the tentacles were about to touch them, I, carrying Muzhok Xiao, slowly landed in front of my father and mother. I just stood there quietly, without any extra movement. But those purple tentacles that could crush even a god venerable were like hitting a wall, an invisible bronze wall constructed by the laws of creation. At a distance of 3 feet from me, they could not advance even a fraction of an inch further. Then, those tentacles actually began to crumble inch by inch from the tips, turning into nothingness. The void devours tens of thousands of crimson eyeballs, simultaneously burst with a light of disbelief. Who are you? On your body, why is there such a terrifying aura of the laws? You are definitely not a being of this universe. I didn't even bother to look at that nauseating monster for a single second, but instead turned around, squatted down, and looked at my father, whose mouth was still bleeding. Dad, are you okay? My father wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and shook his head with a bitter smile. Dad is fine. It's just that Dad is useless. I can't even protect your mother, and in the end, I still have to rely on you. Hearing my father's self-reproachful words, my mother, Luo Qingyan, was completely stunned. She looked at my father, then looked at me, her beautiful eyes filled with disbelief, a look of utter incredulity. Zan, what did you just call him? He is our far? My mother's voice was trembling violently. When he left me, he was still in swaddling clothes, and now, standing before her, was already a supreme powerhouse who could effortlessly block an ancient great terror. This intense contrast made her unable to even believe her own eyes. I looked at my mother's pale yet still gentle and exquisite face, and a sense of unprecedented closeness suddenly surged in my heart. That is the bond of blood being thicker than water, a bond that no law of creation could ever replace. Mom, I am Far. I've come to take you home. I held my mother's hand, which was cold and trembling with excitement, and gave her a big smile. My mother could no longer control her emotions, and pulled me into a tight embrace, crying out loud. My child, my Far, Mom is sorry. You've suffered for so many years. Feeling the warmth of my mother's embrace, my eyes also couldn't help but turn slightly red. It wasn't hard, Mom, with Dad there. I never suffered at all. I gently patted my mother's back, comforting her. Meanwhile, the void devourer, who had been ignored by me, went completely berserk. He was a peerless terror from the dawn of the universe. When had he ever been so ignored? You ants, how dare you ignore me? I will pull out your divine souls. You ants dare to ignore me. I will pull out your divine souls and torture them for 100 million years. The void devourer roared crazily. His main body began to contract violently, condensing all the nihility ki into a massive black orb of light. The space around the orb completely collapsed. That was a power capable of leveling the entire god realm, the ultimate power of destruction. Now die. The black orb of light, carrying the momentum of total destruction, smashed fiercely down toward our family of 3. Young master, be careful. Although Mujok Xiao knew I was invincible, seeing this world-ending display, she still couldn't help but nervously grab the hem of my clothes. I gently patted Zhao Xiao's hand, signaling her not to be afraid. Then I slowly stood up and turned my head to look at that suicidal monster. Today was supposed to be a happy day for our family reunion. I didn't want to see any blood, but you ugly freak really lack any sense of discernment. Since you're so intent on seeking death, then I will fulfill your wish. I extended my right index finger, and a drop of pure white creation source condensed at the tip. This drop of source energy seemed weak, but it contained the supreme truth of creating and destroying all things. Facing that falling black orb of light, I gave a gentle tap and said, "Break." Pure white light shot out instantly, colliding with that giant black orb of light. There was no earth-shattering explosion. Put them together. There was no earth-shattering explosion, nor any dazzling light. The light orb, powerful enough to destroy the divine realm, was like snow and ice meeting the blazing sun. Under the light of the Genesis source, it instantly and silently melted away completely. How is this possible? What level of power is this? The void devourer let out a terrified shriek.
He finally realized.
He had provoked a forbidden entity he couldn't even fathom. His massive body started to retreat in panic, trying to crawl back into the endless abyss, to hide. Too late to run now. I scoffed coldly. My right hand suddenly spread wide, and then clenched forcefully. Genesis law, space stripping. The space around the void devourer instantly became a completely enclosed, transparent prison. His massive body was tightly squeezed in the prison. No matter how much he struggled, he still couldn't escape. I turned my head to look at my stunned father, a sly smile curling on my lips. "Dad, I've got this punching bag under control for you. Just now he wounded you. Now it's your turn for revenge. Go chop him up to vent for Mom." My father paused, glanced at the ancient dragon, struggling wildly in the prison, then looked at the cracked Juxian sword in his hand. But with my current cultivation, even if I slash him 10,000 times, I can't break through his defenses. My father.
His defenses?
Although my dad loves to fight, he's not stupid. He knew the gap between himself and that monster was as vast as the heavens and the earth. I chuckled and sent a thought, directly communicating with the system in my mind. System, stop playing dead. Right now. Set up the highest level temporary power-up package for my dad. I want to let him enjoy himself. The system obeyed my order, even though it was unwilling. But under the pressure of my Genesis God's authority, it could only comply obediently. Detected strong host intention. Issuing to the host's father. The reality Invincible experience. 1 card. Additional 10,000 times attack boost. Strongest across all worlds. Juxian Sword Ultimate Awakening status added. With the system prompt sound. A burst of brilliant 9-colored divine light shot straight out of my body and poured into my dad's head. My dad shuddered all over. A terrifying power countless times stronger than before erupted from within him. In an earth-shattering wave, his injuries were instantly healed. The cracked Juxian sword in his hand, under the bath of divine light, not only healed completely, but also transformed into the legendary Genesis-level divine artifact. On the blade flowed an edge so sharp, it could slice through the dimensions of the universe with ease. This power, my dad could feel, That kind of edge within. This power, my dad could feel. The overwhelming might within his body, as if one punch could shatter all worlds and realms. His eyes blazed with unprecedented fervor and confidence. He turned to look at my mother. Hankson, let me avenge you. With that, my dad took one big step forward, instantly appearing before the transparent cage. The Void Devourer looked at the white-haired man, whose aura had completely changed, and for the first time showed utter terror in his eyes. You stay away from me. My dad raised the Juxian sword high, his expression ice-cold to the extreme. Weren't you threatening to eat me just now? Now go to hell. My dad swung the sword down with all his might. No flashy moves, just pure, ultimate violence and sharpness. The sword light of the Juxian sword became a 9-colored river, stretching for tens of thousands of miles, and effortlessly cut through the transparent prison I created. Then, without resistance, it passed right through the Void Devourer's body. The Void Devourer's cries were cut off. His immense nebula-like form, after the sword light swept through, suddenly froze for a second.
Then,
A blinding crack appeared down his center. Rumble! The Void Devourer's body exploded, turning into a vast shower of pure energy, replenishing the spiritual energy everywhere after the constant battles, healing the scarred divine sword. A single strike to kill a primeval terror. My dad coolly sheathed his sword and let out a long breath. That feeling of revenge satisfied made him look 10 years younger. Nice job. Mother Jane cheered excitedly on the side, her eyes full of adoration. In her heart, my dad was always the mighty hero, capable of anything. Dad grinned proudly, then turned towards me, about to say something, when at that moment, the system's reality Invincible experience card expired. The 9-colored light on my dad faded quickly. His cultivation returned to the peak of God Sovereign. But for him, that was more than enough. He walked up to me, his gaze more complex than ever before. He looked at me deeply, and finally sighed after a long moment. All along, I thought I was protecting you. Now I realize, it's always been you protecting me from the shadows, from the Nirvana pill to the Juxian sword, and now this invincible power. It was all your doing, wasn't it? Hearing my dad's words, my heart skipped a beat. Oh no. Dad's figured me out. I quickly put on an innocent face and rubbed my nose.
Dad.
What are you talking about? I have no idea what you mean. I'm just an ordinary, laid-back teen. Just a lazy teen. All thanks to your strength and might, Dad. Invincible under heaven. My dad reached over and ruffled my hair roughly, his eyes turning slightly red. You little brat, still pretending with me. Do you think your dad's an idiot? Even though Dad doesn't know how you got such incredible fortune. He knows you must carry many burdens. It's Dad's fault for making you bear this responsibility at such a young age, which I should have carried for you. At last, my dad couldn't stop his tears, out of self-blame for his helplessness as a father, and also his deep love for his son. This was the real tearjerker. Even Mother and Muzhou Xiao on the side couldn't help but tear up. The emotion welled up inside me too, and I almost couldn't hold back my tears. Dad, don't say that. We're a family. It doesn't matter who protects whom, as long as you and Mom are safe and sound, and I can lie in the yard and sunbathe every day. That's the greatest happiness in my life. I smiled and gave Dad a big hug. My dad held me tightly, as if he was holding his most precious, rare treasure. Good son. From now on, I won't let you shoulder everything alone anymore. I'll keep working hard at cultivating. I'll strive to catch up with you as soon as possible, to become your true support. My dad swore silently in his heart. At this moment, he was no longer driven by guilt from the system, but out of pure love for his wife and his son. He wanted to grow stronger. He wanted to become the real pillar of this family. Hearing these heartfelt words from my dad, the system in my mind suddenly emitted a pleasant buzzing sound.
Ding.
Detected. Host's father has comprehended the ultimate essence of paternal love. Host's father's mindset has undergone a fundamental and ultimate transformation, breaking the shackles of the system's underlying rules. Congratulations to the host's father for receiving the blessing of the source of the great Tao. Cultivation permanently advanced to the half-step creation god realm. Boom! The once calm sky of the divine realm was once again showered with auspicious signs. Countless golden lotuses blossomed in the void. Crimson light enveloped my dad's body. My dad's cultivation actually broke through without my system's hacks, relying solely on his own mindset. He forcefully crossed the threshold of God Emperor and reached the terrifying half-step creation god stage. Looking at this unbelievable scene before me, I felt ecstatic. This is my dad. The man who, even having his sword bones destroyed, never bowed to fate. The one who grows stronger to protect his family. A super powerhouse constantly breaking limits. Absolutely amazing. This joy of leveling up like crazy without any hacks hits right to the soul. System, you did great this time. You deserve a reward. I silently praised the system in my heart. Good job. I silently gave the system a thumbs up in my heart right then and there. Since my old man has already made a breakthrough, then as his son I naturally have to share in the glory. Sure enough, the system's notification sound followed immediately after. Ding, detected. Host's father has reached the half-step creation god realm. Unique passive law. Ultimate punishment. Since the host has already reached the great perfection of the creation god realm, the host's realm will be specially broken through to the void transcendence realm, which transcends the existence of the universe. The host will become the soul's supreme ruler of all dimensions in the heavens and myriad worlds. In an instant, I felt my soul completely sublimated. I was no longer limited to a certain universe or a certain law. I am the starting point of everything, and also the end of everything. As long as I wish, I can even, with a single thought, create countless universes like the God realm. However, regarding those matters of fighting and killing, or ruling the universe, I am completely uninterested. Right now, I only have one thought in my mind, and that is to take my dad and mom back to our old home in the lower realm, to continue my simple and unadorned life of lying flat. Dad, Mom, everything here has been resolved. This mess in the God realm, just let the people of the God realm manage it themselves. Let's go back to the lower realm, back to the Tianyan Empire, back to our little courtyard, okay? I looked at my parents and asked full of expectation. Mother looked at the God realm around us, riddled with holes. This place is the God realm. But it also holds her most painful memories. She didn't want to stay for a moment longer. All right, Fanner, let's go home. Mom will make you your favorite osmanthus cake. Mother gently stroked my face, her eyes full of maternal love. My dad also laughed heartily, pulling my mother into his arms in one motion. Let's go. Our family of 3 is finally reunited. Let's go back to the lower realm to live a peaceful life. Dad is now a half-step creation god too. From now on, I can walk sideways in the lower realm. Let's see who dares to mess with us. I smiled and snapped my fingers. In the void, instantly, a teleportation portal emitting a soft light appeared. The other end of the portal was connected to exactly our location in Lingyan City of the Tianyan Empire, that dilapidated yet warm side courtyard. Let's go, time to go home. I took Mushoxio's hand and stepped into the portal first. Old man followed close behind, arm around my mother. With our family's departure, that teleportation portal slowly closed, leaving behind only the surviving gods of the God realm, standing bewildered in the wind. They looked at that empty, endless abyss, some even thinking that everything that just happened was only a bizarre dream. But the fall of the 9 great divine kings and the dissipation of the void devourer clearly and unmistakably told them that the sky of the God realm had completely changed. And the supreme taboo existence who changed all this only wanted to go home and bask in the sun. Time flies, and years pass like a shuttle, since we returned to the lower realm from the God realm. Exactly 10 years have passed. In these 10 years, earth-shaking changes have occurred throughout the 9 provinces continent. Because of the return of my old man, and bringing back the Empress of the God realm, the Lin family became the undisputed #1 family in the 9 provinces. Even some god tribes from the upper realm sent people to the lower realm to pay tribute to the Lin family one after another. Lingyan City was expanded, becoming the most prosperous center of the entire continent. But our family still lived in that original side courtyard. Except that now, the side courtyard has been completely transformed by me with creation god power. Spring lasts all year round, and the spiritual energy is so dense it can even condense into water droplets. The courtyard is planted with all sorts of peerless immortal herbs scoured from all dimensions of the heavens, and divine trees. And in the very center of the courtyard, under the tallest and most lush Bodhi divine tree, I am comfortably lying on that chair that has accompanied me for many years, the 10,000-year-old agar wood rocking chair. Sunlight spills onto my face through the gaps in the leaves, warm and cozy, making one unable to resist the urge to doze off. Young master, here is some freshly brewed enlightenment divine tea. Taste it and see if it's too hot. Mu Zhaoxiao has grown more and more beautiful and refined. She wears a light green long dress, obediently holding a jade teacup, bringing it to my lips. I slightly open my mouth, letting Zhaoxiao feed that priceless enlightenment divine tea into my mouth. Sweet. Feeding that priceless enlightenment divine tea into my mouth, the sweet and mellow tea fragrance instantly spread throughout my mouth. I squinted my eyes in contentment. I wouldn't trade this life for being an immortal. From the other side of the courtyard came a series of deafening shouts.
Hey! Ha! I see my dad, Lin Zhangwang, shirtless,
Covered in sweat, madly brandishing the immortal slaying sword in the courtyard. With every swing of the sword, he could slash out small spatial rifts in the void. Dad, what kind of provocation did you get this time? It's early morning, give a person some peace. I helplessly picked my ear and shouted at my dad. My dad sheathed his long sword, wiped the sweat from his forehead with his hand, turned his head, and gave me a fierce glare. You brat. All you know is how to lie on that chair and be lazy. Yesterday, the son of old Wang next door broke through to the profound Dan realm. Old Wang showed off in front of me for a long time. Your dad, I can't swallow this insult. I must seize the time to cultivate and strive to break through to the true creation god realm soon, to give old Wang a good slap in the face. Hearing this bizarre statement from my dad, I almost couldn't hold back the tea in my mouth and sprayed it out. A dignified half-step creation god, the husband of the god realm empress, the supreme ruler of the 9 provinces continent, was actually provoked because the son of the mortal old Wang next door broke through to the profound Dan realm.
He was stimulated by that?
My dad's competitive personality really won't change in a lifetime. Won't change in a lifetime. Fine, you're the greatest, old man. Hurry up and practice. Strive to break through to creation god tomorrow and scare old Wang to death. I gave a perfunctory wave of my hand, changed to a more comfortable position, and continued lying flat, just as I was humoring my old man and preparing to close my eyes for a nap. The mahogany gate outside the courtyard was suddenly knocked with a thunderous bang. Then, a middle-aged fat man wearing a flashy, leopard print robe like a nouveau riche walked in with a swagger. The fat man was exactly the old Wang next door, my dad mentioned, a famous silk merchant in the Tianyin Empire. Behind him, there was also a young dandy whose chin was almost tilted up to the sky. This young man wore a showy white robe, his spiritual energy fluctuations barely reaching the first level of the profound Dan realm. Hey, Brother Lin, still practicing your sword? As soon as old Wang entered, he started shouting in a raspy voice. Oh, I told you long ago, at our age, we should just stay home and enjoy our blessings. Look at my good-for-nothing son. Yesterday, I casually ate a 100-year-old Ganoderma. I actually broke through to the Zhuangdan realm. Now I've been specially admitted to the Imperial Academy of Tianyin Empire. It was an exception for me. Old Wang proudly patted his son's shoulder with a smug look. The young master glanced arrogantly at his father. He pretended to act humble and cupped his hands. Hello, Uncle Lin. I'm not very talented. Barely stepped into it. After entering the Zhuangdan realm, If the Lin family runs into any trouble in Lingyan City, I can help out a bit. Hearing this father and son say such arrogant things, I nearly couldn't hold back my laughter while lying on the rocking chair. My dad is half a Genesis god. In my dad's eyes, the Zhuandan realm is less than a speck of dust in the universe. Old Wang actually brought his Zhuandan realm son to show off in front of my dad. It's like wielding a broadsword in front of Guan Yu, or doing tricks before Buddha. My dad paused his actions during the battle.
He casually threw the Juxian sword onto the stone table.
He looked at the prideful father and son in front of him. The corner of his mouth couldn't help twitching violently. Old Wang, not to criticize you. Your son's Zhuandan realm is pretty weak. His foundation is shaky. His steps are unsteady. He should take fewer pills in the future and focus more on building a solid base. These are the wise words from a half-Genesis god. But to Old Wang, it sounded like pure jealousy. Old Wang snorted disdainfully. Brother Lin, you're just being sour grapes because you can't have them. Although your Lin family is successful now, cultivation is all about talent. Look at your Lin fan. He just lies around the yard drinking tea every day, without any sign of spiritual power fluctuating. Are you really going to entrust this huge family business to a mere mortal in the future? The young master echoed him as well. Is it in someone's hands? That young noble also chimed in. Yeah, Uncle Lin. I heard your Lin family used to be quite prestigious. Unfortunately, young Master Lin Fan has no talent for cultivation. If Uncle Lin is willing, you could send young Master Lin Fan to stay with me. He could be my reading companion. I promise nobody would dare bully him. Hearing that, I didn't really react. My father's expression instantly darkened. His precious son, the one and only in all realms, is the sole void transcendent lord, an ultimate taboo who could crush even the heavenly Tao of the divine realm at will. And these ignorant mortal father and son actually want me to be a reading companion. My father let out a cold sneer. A trace of helplessness flashed in his eyes. Old Wang, you really don't know what it means to court death. Fine, today I'll let you witness what real power looks like. My father didn't even move a finger. He just coughed lightly. In that cough, he subconsciously leaked 1/10,000,000th of his creation god's might. Boom! The air in the whole courtyard suddenly became as heavy as a primordial sacred mountain. Old Wang, who had been so arrogant, and his son at the profound pill stage, suddenly felt their legs turn to jelly. With a thud, both dropped to their knees on the flagstones. The spiritual power in their bodies completely froze. Even breathing became extremely difficult. The young noble was so scared his face turned deathly pale. Cold sweat poured down like a waterfall. Cold, pale sweat gushed out like a waterfall. What's going on? What happened? Old Wang was scared out of his wits, thought they were experiencing an earthquake. My father looked down at them from above. He sighed. All right, hurry up and go home. Stop flaunting yourselves all the time. There's always someone stronger. There's always someone smarter. Don't invite disaster upon yourselves. After speaking, my father withdrew that bit of pressure. Old Wang and his son felt they'd been pardoned and scrambled out of the courtyard. They didn't even dare to look back. Seeing them flee in such a mess, I couldn't help bursting out laughing. Dad, you've really toned down your temper. If this was before, those two would have been ashes already. My father gave me an annoyed glare. Your father is a man of status now. How could I stoop to the level of commoners like them? Besides, your mother doesn't like blood in the house. I need to set a good example. I gave my dad a thumbs up. Managing to stay henpecked even at half-creation god level. You're the first in history. While our family was laughing, between heaven and earth, a strange anomaly suddenly occurred. The clear, cloudless sky, suddenly with no warning, turned into a bleak, pure white. This wasn't the white of clouds, but a void white that erased all color and vitality. The spiritual energy of the entire 9 provinces continent stopped flowing at this moment. Even time and space, even laws, all began to slowly dissolve under that bleak light. My smile disappeared instantly. I slowly stood up from the rocking chair. My brow furrowed slightly. This is a kind of unfamiliar yet strangely familiar power that even I felt. Not from this universe. Not from the divine realm. Definitely not from any known dimension. From within the void came an extremely ethereal and utterly emotionless grand voice. Severe anomaly detected. Universe coordinates locked. Detected existence in this universe that violates macro balance via overspecification. Individual purge program officially initiated. The era of the Great Purge has arrived. As that icy voice fell, in the pure white sky, a huge indescribable crack slowly opened. 3 figures, shrouded in white light, descended slowly from the crack. They had no features, no sign of life, only the purest laws of destruction and reset. They are dimensional janitors, embodiments of rules from higher dimensions beyond all realms, existences beyond all realms, specialized in cleaning up those worlds that have gone out of control and could threaten the multiverse's balance. Mutated worlds. And there's no doubt, my father, the half-creation god, and me, the void transcendent existence, we have long since seriously surpassed that void transcendent level. We've long exceeded what this universe can possibly tolerate. My father gripped the immortal slaying sword, shielding my mother and Mu Xiao behind him. His gaze was more intense than ever. The aura of these 3 monsters was even more terrifying than the void devourer we encountered before, countless times more terrifying. Each has reached the peak of true creation god realm. All 3-dimensional janitors simultaneously raised, their featureless faces fixing their gaze on our little courtyard. Anomalous individual 0 battles. 0 counter. Your existence has already broken dimension balance. You are granted ultimate erasure. 1 janitor slowly raised a hand. A pure white beam pierced the void and silently descended onto our courtyard. This light column had no world-destroying force. But wherever it passed, all matter and concepts were completely erased, leaving not a trace. My father roared, primordial chaos. His chaotic Tao physique erupted to the maximum. The power of a half-step creation god turned into a rainbow sword river, slicing fiercely toward that white beam. The 2 forces collided in midair. No explosion, only silent mutual annihilation. But my father is ultimately only half a creation god. Facing the laws of true creation god peak, his rainbow sword river began to rapidly collapse. The white light cut through everything, continuing toward. The white light cut through everything and pressed toward us. My father bit his tongue, sprayed his own origin blood onto the immortal slaying sword, prepared to burn his life for one last stand. Just then, inside my mind, the system that had been dormant for 10 years suddenly erupted with an extremely intense and sorrowful blue light. This was no longer that old mechanical prompt, but a familiar voice, tired and weathered, yet filled with infinite gentle warmth. I've actually known this day would come for a long time. But this is the last time I'll help you. Hearing that voice, I felt like I'd been struck by lightning. Because that voice was nobody else's, it was actually mine. Or rather, it's me from countless eras in the future. The system in my mind slowly unfolded a heartbreaking scene for me. It was another timeline of fate. In that timeline, I didn't transmigrate. No system. I was just an ordinary, useless young master. A member of the Star Sword sect, destroyed my father's sword bone, stole my mother's life. Because my father didn't have the Nirvana golden pill. He passed away from grief a few months later. My mother was tortured endlessly in the divine realm. Eventually, her origin was drained by the 9 divine kings. Her body and soul were completely obliterated. I went through countless hardships, life and death, fighting my way through endless hatred. I spent a full 100,000 epochs, slaughtering my way across the 9 provinces, slaughtering the 9 provinces, slaughtering my way through the divine realm, slaughtering through all the worlds. I became, throughout all ages, the only supreme ruler to reach the void transcendence realm. But I lost everything. I gained the power to control everything. but could never hear my parents call me son again. I sat alone atop the highest place in the multiverse, feeling eternal loneliness. To make up for this irreparable regret, I exhausted all my void transcendence laws, forcefully reversed the river of time and space. I stripped almost all of my power away, refined it into this prosperous, righteous path system, then took my soul and sent it back to this very point in time. The reason the system sets my cultivation permanently 3 major realms higher than my father's realm is because that cultivation isn't given by the system at all, but by myself. My original power unlocks bit by bit as Dad gets stronger, slowly returning. I purposely set it up so Dad would be unbeatable, simply because I wanted to see my father at his proudest. I wanted him to become the most proud father in this world. I wanted to use all my strength to protect that pure smile of theirs. The system's voice grows weaker and weaker. Now only the cleaners discovered our secret of reversing time. They want to erase this perfect, modified universe. Instead, you should fuse and reveal your final strength. Go ahead instead. Fuse your last bit of strength. Show your true self. Protect our home. Don't let tragedy repeat itself. The blue light completely faded. The system turned into a crystal clear teardrop. It directly merged deep into my soul. At that moment, I finally understood everything. I closed my eyes. A warm tear silently slid down from the corner of my eye. The father's love I've been enjoying all along was exchanged for my countless eras of loneliness. Turns out there was never any system in this world. There was only me, the one who would give up everything to save my family. I suddenly opened my eyes. The laziness and teasing normally in my gaze were gone. What replaced them was a profound wisdom formed by ages past, endless sorrow and absolute dominance. I stepped forward, standing directly in front of my father. I gently raised my right hand. That pure white pillar of light, able to erase everything, stopped right in the palm of my hand. Just like a wisp of smoke, I softly pressed it, and it vanished completely. Father, mother, Zhao Xiao, step back. Leave this to me. My dad looked at my back. For some reason, his eyes suddenly turned red. He didn't know about the system, but he could feel the heartbreaking loneliness in me. Vanner, just what are you carrying? My dad asked in a trembling voice. I didn't look back. I only gave him a reassuring back to see. Dad, don't ask. You only need this new back. Dad, don't ask. Just know this. No matter what I become, I'm always your son. You used to protect me. Today I'll protect you. I slowly rose into the sky, facing directly those 3 dimensions, the scavengers. My white clothes fluttered wildly in the void storm. The final sealed part in the system, the power of void transcendence, returned fully to me. I'm no longer bound by any concept. I am the multiverse itself, the meaning of existence. You emotionless scavengers want to wipe out the home I finally recovered. Did you ever ask if I agreed? I spread my arms. An invisible yet vast ripple spread from me out across the entire multiverse. The 3 dimensions. On the scavengers' eternal faces, for the first time, a wave of fear appeared. Discovered power beyond the ultimate dimension. Danger level, unable to calculate. Requesting highest level destruction protocol. The 3 scavengers merged together. They became a gigantic pure white giant. In its hand it formed a dimension judgment sword capable of severing the river of space-time. With the will of the high dimensions, it slashed down at me with a roar. If this sword lands, not only 9 provinces, not only divine sword, even the past, present, and future will be completely erased. Facing this ultimate sword, I had no intention of dodging. I simply raised my right hand slowly. Void transcendence first law, causality reversal. As my chilly voice sounded, the laws of the entire multiverse were totally inverted at this moment. The dimension judgment sword that was about to strike me reversed direction suddenly in midair and chopped down on that pure white giant itself. It let out a silent, agonized scream. The pure white body began to collapse frantically. But that's not enough. touching my family, must pay the price of total extinction. Void transcendence, second law, return all to zero. My eyes shone with light that could illuminate endless dimensions. That giant over 10,000 feet tall didn't even have a chance to struggle and was utterly erased from the conceptual level by this absolute void power. The pure white sky began to disappear quickly. Kyushu continent returned to its original blue skies and white clouds. Sunlight shone again, filling our small courtyard. Everything seemed as if nothing had happened. But I know, this eternal peace came at the cost of my last bit of obsession. The system that accompanied me for 10 years, the one that was lonely for countless eras, vanished completely. I gently drifted down from midair. Vanished completely. I gently floated down from the sky. My toes lightly touched the bluestone in the courtyard. That vast power within me also faded away. I turned back into an ordinary-looking teenager. Father, mother, Jacques Xiao, I'm fine. It's all over. I turned around and gave them the brightest smile ever. My dad suddenly threw away the immortal executing sword in his hand, rushed over in big strides, and hugged me tightly in his arms. This iron-willed, half-step creation god, at this moment cried like a child. Brat, you scared me to death. Dad doesn't care what you've been through, nor how powerful you are. Remember this, you're always my son, Lingzan. If anyone dares bully your dad, even if I have to risk my life, I'll bite off a piece of them. Mother also came over and hugged both father and son tightly. Her tears soaked my shoulder. Fanner, Mom will make you osmanthus cake every day from now on. Our family will never be separated again. Mu Zhaoxiao stood to one side, her eyes red, quietly wiping her tears with a handkerchief. Her eyes were full of longing and deep affection for me. Feeling the warmth of family, I couldn't hold back the tears at the corner of my eye anymore. But this time, they are tears of happiness. All my eras of waiting and plotting finally reached a perfect conclusion at this moment. Yes, I've finally come home. A few months later in Lingyan City, life in Lingyan City was back to normal. The scavenger incident was just a minor interlude. It caused no stir. In the mortal world, Dad still waves his sword every morning in the yard. The immortal executing sword that's now just rusty scrap metal. But he can't bear to throw it away. Even though he knows with me here, this world is completely safe, he still happily competes with himself every day. He says he's setting a good example for me as his son. Mom carved out a little garden in the backyard. Used to be the empress of the divine realm, but now her biggest hobby is figuring out how to grow cucumbers crisper and make tomatoes sweeter. As for me, I still lie on the sandalwood rocking chair under the Bodhi divine tree, but now there's someone else by my side. Mu Zhou is no longer just my personal maid. With my parents' matchmaking, a few days ago, we held a simple but very warm wedding. No gods of the divine realm were disturbed, nor were any big names from Kyushu invited. Just neighbors and a few close friends. Now she is officially the young lady next door. Zhaoxiao, open your mouth. I picked up a peeled, snowy Bodhi berry and brought it to Zhaoxiao's lips. Her face blushed and sweetly opened her mouth. She ate the Bodhi berry. Her eyes overflowed with sweetness. Young master, you're teasing me again. Zhaoxiao playfully shot me a glare. But her body honestly leaned on my shoulder. I smiled, wrapped my arm around her slender waist. Young master, you should call me husband now. Zhaoxiao shyly buried her head in my chest. Her voice was as soft as a mosquito. Husband. Hearing her call me that, my heart was sweet to the extreme. A gentle breeze passed by. Golden Bodhi leaves fell throughout the yard. The sunset glow covered my whole family with a layer of warm gold. The aroma of Mom's cooking drifted from the kitchen, along with Dad's coughing from the fumes. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath of this air full of earthly warmth. No more noisy system, no more world-destroying battles, just the most ordinary yet most precious daily life. I finally don't have to worry about getting stronger. Dad finally fulfilled his vow to protect his family. This is the life I want. A completely relaxed, uneventful but blissful perfect life. With a long life ahead, I'll just stay in this little courtyard, accompanying my family, watching flowers bloom and fall, seeing clouds roll and drift, until the end of time.